watching ABC News GH. This is ABC Headlines. I am Abna Mante. Coming up, the Ghana Police Service has assured the Democracy Hub Group of its readiness to provide tight security for their demonstration against government's failure to act on illegal mining activities from 21st to 23rd September 2024. Still to come, the Teachers and Educational Workers Union of the Trades Union Congress has joined forces with the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana in a nationwide strike effective Friday, September 20, 2024. We have these and many more coming up shortly. Do stay tuned. The Ghana Police Service has indicated its preparedness to handle the planned demonstration by the Democracy Hub Group from 21st to 23rd September 2024. The Ghana Police Service also added that they will provide further details on the security measures for the planned demonstration on Thursday, 19th September 2024. In a statement released on Wednesday, the police service stated that comprehensive security measures are in place to ensure the safety and security of both participants and the general public during the demonstration. This reassurance comes in the wake of earlier developments where a legal injunction had been sought to prevent the group from going ahead with their planned protest. The injunction was part of ongoing legal disputes regarding the demonstration's legality and potential impact on public order. The action also follows concerns raised by the police over the venue selected by the group for their demonstration, the frontage of the Jubilee House. That Ojiahoho Yao JB, the second president of the National House of Chiefs, has rejected calls for a blanket ban on all mining activities, instead advocates for stricter regulations to ensure responsible mining. He emphasized that mining significantly contributes to Ghana's economy and argued that a total ban would not serve the country's best interests. His comments come amid growing pressure on government to take decisive action against illegal mining, known as Galamsey, which continues to devastate our water bodies and environment. Various groups, including the Ghana Medical Association and Organized Labour, have called on President Akufo-Addo to ban all small-scale mining activities or declare a state of emergency. Ojiahoho Yao JB, the second president of National House of Chiefs, has rejected this blanket call. The Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEWU, of the Trades Union Congress, TUC, has joined forces with the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana in a nationwide strike effective Friday, September 20, 2024. This decision comes after the government failed to address their demands for improved working conditions, despite numerous protests and negotiations. TEWU, in a statement, cited the government's failure to implement previously agreed upon conditions, including the non-implementation of vehicle maintenance and off-campus allowances, despite an approval letter from the Ministry of Finance dated August 2, 2024. The Controller and Accountant General's Department has failed to implement these allowances for TEWU members. Additionally, the union indicated that the government has neglected to recalculate and pay interest accrued from delayed Tier 2 deductions to the union scheme from January 2010 to 2016. They further argued that the government owes 8 months' worth of Tier 2 deductions, which were deducted from employees' salary but not remitted to the union scheme for effective management. Institute of Economic Affairs IEA presidential debate and evening encounter series have hit a snag following the pulling out of the leader of the new force, Nana Kwame Bediako, at the final hour. Chedda's decision to pull out of the program appeared to have distorted IEA's calendar, but leadership of the think tank said they will review their plans and engage other political parties. The IEA has scheduled to open the presidential evening encounter on Wednesday, September 18, 2024, with the leader of the new force, Nana Kwame Bediako. The encounter seeks to provide a platform for some selected presidential candidates to articulate clearly their vision and policies for the country as part of activities leading up to the December 7 polls. Meanwhile, the leader, founder and flag bearer of the Movement for Revolutionary Change has indicated that he won't be participating in the IEA presidential debate slated for next month. Addressing the media at his Distinguished Speakers series, Alan noted that he won't be taking part in the debate. According to him, he doesn't want to be a part of the usual politics. And then these are the main stories for today. I am Abna Manse. Up next is ABC in the Morning. Stay with us. morning, and good morning to you. You are watching ABC in the morning on ABC News GH. We are glad you have joined us this morning to make your morning better and carry it through your day. Give every day the chance to become the most beautiful day of your life. Give every day the chance to become the most beautiful day of your life. Mark Twain, the famous humorist and American writer, said this. So today, on the 19th of September 2024, I want to encourage you to give every day the chance to be the most beautiful day of your life. Today is a Thursday. The week hasn't yet ended at all. So you want to give Thursday a chance to be the most beautiful day of your life. And this is how we start ABC in the morning. Get interactive with us by WhatsApping us on our WhatsApp number 05099303600 05099303600. I am Abna Mati. I am glad to bring you ABC in the morning this morning. We are also on social media. Get interactive with us at ABC News GH _ at ABC News GH _ we are live on YouTube, and it is ABC News GH. You want to be a part of ABC in the morning. Today we are bringing you, as usual, our front story and trends, sports, and we will give you some health tips, and finally you will be joining us on Business Fix. We are looking at some important topics that you don't want to lose out on, you don't want to miss at all. So kindly stay with us, don't go anywhere, and enjoy ABC in the morning here on ABC News GH. On Front Story today, we'll be looking at the Galamsey fight, how far efforts have gone in fighting the menace of Galamsey that we are going through. We will look at Galamsey, we will look at social intervention policies, we'll be looking at the problems of PSPs, especially following what the Bank of Ghana released on the fraud report. So we'll be looking at all of these things on ABC in the morning. But up next is Front Story, social intervention policies and how they matter to us in this country, and if we are indeed doing something about these policies. If these policies are just political gimmicks, they are just political talks, they are ways of getting us to vote for our politicians, we will see about that. So Front Story is up next. Stay with us. Earlier, you are watching ABC in the morning on ABC News GH. You want to join us on YouTube, where we are also streaming, and share the link with your friends and family so that they too enjoy what's happening on ABC in the morning. Today on Front Story, NABCO is set to hold a mega demonstration at the Jubilee House before the elections. The National Builders Call, a flagship initiative of the Ghanaian government aimed at addressing graduate unemployment, is preparing to hold a mega mega demonstration at the Jubilee House just a week to the general elections. The flagship program, which was launched in 2018, provided temporary employment opportunities for graduates, equipping them with skills and work experience. With over 100,000 beneficiaries, NABCO has contributed significantly to Ghana's development. In recent happenings, personnel from the National Builders Corps Nation Builders Corps have expressed their displeasure about not receiving their allowances. Builders Corps have expressed their displeasure. They are saying that since 2021, when the flagship program ended, they have not received their salaries, their allowances, the allowances due them for the work they did. Yesterday we spoke with the organizer of the group, and he said that 9 months salary, 9 months allowances have not been disbursed to them. 9 months of allowances have not been disbursed to them, and has caused them a lot of distress. They are in so much distress that they do not know what to do about it. They have gone to the Ministry of Finance to petition them about the allowances. However, the Ministry of Finance also directed them to the Jubilee House, and it's been a back and forth since then. When they go to the Jubilee House says that go to the Ministry of Finance. When they go to Ministry of Finance also says that go to the Jubilee House, and then it has left them in limbo. They do not know what to do. So the resource that they have got, they have no other option but to demonstrate, and the venue for their demonstration is the Jubilee House, and they are looking at doing that just before the elections. NABCO is a social intervention policy, a flagship program that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government brought as a stopgap measure to integrate persons who had completed their tertiary education, who had completed school and didn't have work to do. So the Nation Builders Corps was a way to integrate them. So it was a stopgap measure. It was a program that was supposed to help young persons so that they had something doing with their hands. This is not the first time that such social interventions policies have happened. These are not the first time that they have happened. This is not the first time, that these social intervention policies have happened. We have the YEA amongst others, and all of these policies come as a way to mitigate the situation of no jobs in the system for young persons. But we ask that these social intervention policies, are they long-term measures? Are they something that the government seek to build upon, or these are just political strategies? They are part of the political strategies to get persons to vote for the political party. These are some of the questions that people are asking, because after NABCO, now these personnel are crying. They are distressed. They are asking that where is our money? Where is our money? They are complaining so much. We've had similar agitations from similar groups. Youth in Afforestation have agitated about their monies and have picketed at the Forestry Commission a number of times because of the monies that they had not received. So we are asking if these social intervention policies are indeed policies that have the youth at heart, or these policies have just been put in place as part of political strategies to get persons to vote for these political parties when it is time for elections. Let's look at some of these social interventions. In the Kufuor era between 2001 and 2009, the National Youth Employment Program, NYEP, was started in 2002. The Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty Program was also started, that is LEAP. It was started in 2008. And the MIDA, Millennium Development Authority, was set up in 2006. But before we continue, let's take a look at the NABCO program, the National Builders Corps program. The National Builders Corps is a Ghanaian government initiative aimed at addressing graduates' unemployment, just like any other social intervention policy that was introduced before this was even introduced. To address graduates' unemployment, day in and day out we hear of graduates complaining that there are no jobs in the system. We have completed school and over 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, there's nothing to do. If we do not go into entrepreneurship, there are no jobs for us, and obviously not everybody can be an entrepreneur. So NABCO came in as an initiative to address the mounting graduate unemployment issues in the country. And in 2017, Ghana's unemployment rate had reached 11.9%, with graduate unemployment being a significant concern. To tackle the issue, President Akufo-Addo's government introduced the Nation Builders Corps. To tackle the issue of this 11.9% of unemployment in 2017, President Nana Akufo-Addo's government introduced NABCO. And NABCO was launched on May 1, 2018. These were some of the primary objectives of the Nation Builders Corps: to develop temporary employment for graduates. So they were stopgap measures. It was a stopgap measure to provide temporary employment for graduates who otherwise would have been unemployed. It was to develop skills and work experience for these graduates. If you stayed home for 3 years and had nothing to do, obviously you would be stale. No work experience, no skills, and every job requires that you have some level of work experience. So you had stayed home for about 5 years, you wanted to get a job, and then they were asking, we need 3 years or 5 years of experience. What were you going to do? So NABCO was the aim of NABCO was to provide and develop skills and work experience for the graduates and to support national development by enrolling graduates who otherwise would have been unemployed on the NABCO program. The government was supporting national development, because in the morning I'd wake up and then go to work and work for the country. It meant that if I were a NABCO person, I was contributing my quota to the national development, and NABCO was to improve employability. If I woke up and went to work again, I was gaining skills that I otherwise would not have had. So it meant that now, by the skills I was gaining and by the experiences I was also gaining, it was placing me on a better platform, on a better level to be employed. This was the formation of the Nation Builders Corps. NABCO was launched on May 1, 2018 with the initial enrollment of some 100,000 graduates, and it was done on a modular employment structure of 7 modules, and a stipend of 700 Ghana cedis was paid per month. And this was going to be on a 3-year contract duration. It started in 2018 and it was going to be a 3-year duration. This was a stopgap measure, again, like I said, for a certain period of time, and it was a short-term period of time. It was a short-term measure to address unemployment. So from 2018 to 2021, and the persons or the personnel on the Builders Corps program were going to receive 700 Ghana cedis per month. The NABCO are saying that after the program ended in 2021, 9 months out of the 3 years that they worked, they have not received their 700 cedis allowances for 9 months. They have not received their 700 cedis allowances for the 9 months that they worked. And this is the reason why NABCO is agitating, because yesterday when we spoke with the organizer for the association, David Peterson, he said that inflation has gone up, so many things have happened. However, they are not even bothered about that. They are not bothered about the monies that should have gone up because of inflation. They are expecting that the monies owed them 9 months payments. 9 months payments of allowances should be paid to them. These are some of the social intervention policies that we have seen in Ghana. In Kufuor's era, in the Kufuor era between 2001 and 2009, we saw the National Youth Employment Program, NYEP, in 2002, the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, LEAP, in 2008, and the Millennium Development Authority, MIDA, in 2006. In the Mahama era between 2012 and 2017, we saw the Ghana Youth Employment and Entrepreneurial Development Agency, GIDA, which was set up in 2012, and GIDA came to replace the National Youth Employment Program. We also saw the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, the SADA program, which came in 2010, and Zoom Lions Youth in Sanitation module in 2006. If Zoom Lion was done in 2006, then it will find expression under the Kufuor's era. In Akufo-Addo's era, from 2017 up until now, Nations Builders Corps, NABCO, set up in 2018, the first social intervention policy of the Akufo-Addo government. The first social intervention policy of the Akufo-Addo government was NABCO, which was set up in 2018, and Youth in Afforestation Program, which was also set up in 2018. We've seen the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, GIF, and the Planting for Food and Jobs in 2017. So Ghana is not a country that has not seen social intervention policies before. Various social intervention policies have happened in the country, but today it is NABCO that is agitating. It is NABCO which is agitating today. They said that they are owed 9 months allowances in arrears, and they are expecting government to pay them. However, because government has not paid them, they are looking at demonstrating against government because it's been too long a time. It has been too long a time. So this is their petition to the National Peace Council, which they sent. They said that NABCO is prepared to hold a mega demonstration at the Jubilee House forecourt just a week before the elections if the arrears remain unsettled. This situation poses a serious threat to national security, but NABCO believes that the intervention of the National Peace Council will prevent potential unrest. The prompt action by the Peace Council will prevent the planned demonstration, maintain the country's peaceful atmosphere, and address the trainees' concerns. Immediate government action is vital. Government action is vital to prevent potential security threats. So the NABCO trainees have had no option but to go to National Peace Council. They believe that in this period, National Peace Council is a voice that everybody is listening to, and indeed the government should be able to listen to the National Peace Council. They have tried all avenues, and these avenues have not worked for them. The avenues have not worked for them, so they have had no recourse to speak with National Peace Council. They have sent their letter to the National Peace Council and has told them that National Peace Council should step in this issue for them, because between the Ministry of Finance and the Jubilee House, they have exhausted all avenues and do not know who to go to. They do not know who to go to. So they are asking Peace Council to speak for them, because they are also saying that they are looking at having this demonstration the week before elections. And obviously, this period will not be good for our security as a nation. The week before elections, that is when they want to have it. But this is actually to also send a signal to government that they are serious and they need their issues to be looked at very, very soon. And this is what NABCO is agitating for. Let's speak with a social analyst, a social policy analyst, Dr. George Domfe, who joins us via Zoom for this conversation on social intervention policies and the NABCO. Dr. George Domfe is a development economist. Good morning, sir. Okay, Dr. George Domfe will be joining us soon. He is with the University of Ghana and he is a social policy analyst, and he is with the Center for Social Policy. Dr. George Domfe will join us to have this conversation. But like I was saying earlier, NABCO plans on holding this demonstration the week before the elections, and we all know that the week before elections, these are very, very volatile periods, and you don't want to have a demonstration at that time. It is for this reason why they have gone to National Peace Council and are asking Peace Council to step into this matter, because it seems that they do not have the strength or the capacity to continue to fight this fight alone. Good morning, Dr. Domfe.
Good morning, my sister.
Thank you for joining us this morning, sir.
You're welcome.
Sir, how are social intervention policies like NABCO, LEAP, and Planting for Food and Jobs effective? And have they been effective in addressing poverty and unemployment in Ghana?
Thank you very much for having me. Let me say very good morning to viewers and listeners. So when we talk about social protection is anything deliberately put together to, as it were, protect the vulnerable. Any economy, not only Ghana, anywhere you go in the world, people have different capacities. Some are even born incapacitated. People are living with various forms of disabilities, and as for that matter, they are not able to move along as the economy is thriving. And so government would deliberately put together what we call social protection to protect these individuals who might be suffering. And so if you look back to the history of Ghana, we've had quite a number of social protection, especially during the Fourth Republic. And under President Kufuor, quite a number were introduced. And almost every one of them that was introduced had a particular agenda and purpose. And so, for example, a capitation grant, it was supposed to make basic education free. That was introduced September 2005. We have seen national health insurance. Hitherto, it was very difficult for some people to even go to hospital when they were sick. And so government decided that let's put this together so people will pay certain amount of money annually, and government will top it so that in the situation where they have problem, health care services becomes affordable. And so that is how we national health insurance came to the.
Sir. Hello, sir. Okay, so Dr. George Domfe will be speaking to.
So some schools that were. Hello.
Sir, please go on.
Okay. I thought you were asking a question. So we had where government was supplying cooking for them, school feeding. I'm sure you've heard about it. And recently, the one that has become very popular is free senior high school, and that is also seeking to make education free up to the secondary level. And so these are social protections that we have, quite a number, and each of them has a purpose. So you talked about NABCO. Yes, that was supposed to address unemployment problem. And one significant problem facing countries, smaller open market economies like Ghana, is unemployment. The main reason for the unemployment is because in this economies, including Ghana. Most of what we eat, we wear, we drink, we always import them. And anytime you import, you will be increasing. When you import, you are in a way increasing job opportunities for the people in the countries where you are importing from. For example, if we go to China today to import toothpick and those other things that we go there to buy, we are creating jobs for the people. If you look at the third world and the emerging market economies, including Ghana, as I said, the problem that we are having today is that many years ago, most of these economies, agricultural sector was the leading contributor. That is to suggest that most of us were involved or we were engaged by the agricultural sector. I'm talking about the workers in these countries were engaged by the agricultural sector because that was the biggest, in terms of the contribution to GDP. Now, going forward, we have seen agricultural sector leapfrogging to services. What I mean is that every economy that you look at has three different sectors. That is agricultural sector, manufacturing sector, and tertiary sector. The agricultural sector mostly is the farming, crop production, and those kind, livestock and crop production, cocoa, afforestation, forestry, those other things are what we describe as agriculture. And then we have what we call the industrial sector, the secondary sector. It's also known as industrial sector. Industrial sector, we are talking about manufacturing, we are talking about construction, we are talking about mining and quarrying, and we are talking about water and sewage production, electricity. They make up industrial sector. Then the tertiary sector is the services. That is where we have education, trading, healthcare services, and all the other things. Unfortunately, if you look at the trend of all economies that have developed, agricultural sector will first set the pace. And as the economy progresses, it gives way to industrial sector, especially the manufacturing sector. So you have so many factories producing to feed the people. And as the factories are producing to feed the people, they engage more hands. And by and large, as the economy further advances, services sector becomes the leading contributor to GDP. As we speak, Ghana, all the way from 1957 to 2006, agricultural sector was the leading contributor to GDP, and all of a sudden, tertiary, the services sector has taken over. And so there is a mixing gap. That is the manufacturing, that is the industrial sector. So in economics, we call it leapfrogging. We've jumped over the manufacturing sector. We've relegated building of factories and other things that were
if we have leapfrogged, say,
out there to import what otherwise we should be producing in this country.
Dr. Domfe.
That's why people go abroad, they go to many places, and there are jobs openings here and there. If somebody goes to US today, yeah, hello.
Yes, sir. So you have mentioned that we have leapfrogged over one sector into the other, and some of these things are causing the issues that we are facing. Back to our social intervention policies, we know that they were created as stopgaps for the time being. However, what are the potential long-term consequences of relying on temporary employment programs like these social intervention policies?
I thought you were talking more about the NABCO, and what I'm talking about is the background to the NABCO, why we are not creating jobs. And I'm sure when I end, it's going to answer some of the questions that you are posing. And so what I was trying to, let me try to wrap up in a minute. What I was trying to say is that as a country, we couldn't put together better policies to transition from the agricultural sector to the manufacturing and consequently to subsequently to the tertiary. But we were leapfrogging, and so now what we need to, as it were, address this situation of mass unemployment, especially with our graduates, is to go back and look at the manufacturing sector. We have to set up factories. I mean, people who go abroad, within a minute, they become so rich, they come back home to put up houses. The main trick is that if you go abroad, almost every step of your way, there is a factory. I mean, we have quite a number of them, and because of that, it's not so difficult to get job to do when you are in US, Europe, and other places compared to it is in Africa. And so the missing gap is that we have relegated the manufacturing sector to the background. So we need to go back there, build more factories. I've seen government initiative, one district, one factory, and all that. We need more of those ideas to push the agenda of local production. And once that happens, and more people are producing, eventually there will be more jobs openings to absorb our graduates. I must be frank with you, having taught at the tertiary level for over 50 years, I get confused. When you meet someone you taught over the last 10 years, the person tells you, say, I'm still moving around with CV, I have no job to do. It's something that normally saddens my heart. And so that was the basis for the NABCO. The NABCO was not supposed to address the unemployment and the problem. It was a temporary gap, because the system was not creating jobs. Graduates were out there, and if you agree with me, they formed association called Unemployment Graduate Association.
As a temporal solution to the issue, why shouldn't we rather focus on permanent job creation? Because obviously, it looks like these temporary solutions, at the end of the day, when it is over, you find the persons who were in that position reverting back to what they were. Some do not find a place where
that's a very good question.
they went to work.
That was what I answered. I was talking about, so as far as NABCO is concerned, I have partly answered the question you are asking. Building more factories to create jobs. That's the way to go. We cannot address this problem if we keep on going to China and other places to always import. We have to think beyond where we are now by trying to build more factories. And once you encourage local production and you reduce your dependence on dependency on import, and you begin to now produce more, you are creating permanent jobs in the process. And what is so good about it is that when you cut import, you also reduce the incessant depreciation of the cedi. Anytime cedi depreciates, we all see everybody will be crying, the system becomes hot. But if you're able to create more factories, you're able to create more deepen local production to employ more people, what you are doing is that you are reducing the demand for dollar, because you wouldn't even need the dollar to go to import. And as for that matter, you reduce cedi becomes stable. What is more, if you get more people to work in the formal sector, you are going to rake in more revenue. As we speak, one biggest problem for government is always going out there to borrow. Why is it happening so? As we speak, we have about 14 million Ghanaians who are supposed to be working. Only 2.3 million are identified by the government in the formal sector, and they are the ones paying income tax. The rest are not paying anything to government. So assuming we're able to expand the formal sector through establishment of so many factories to deepen the local production, you are going to get more people to pay income tax, and so that is also going to reduce government's taste for going outside there to borrow. So it's going to solve quite a number of social problems apart from creating jobs. And so you are very right, very good question. Why are we not focusing on the permanent? And that is why I mentioned deepening the local production. Agricultural sector, I've seen quite a number of policies and programs trying to deepen local production in that sector. And then the industrial sector, the manufacturing, one district, one factory has worked to some extent. I know some of the factories are having challenges, but most of them are really working well. And they have also, in a way, employed quite a number. It means that whatever government is doing today, if we're able to double up the effort to do more, to build more factories. For example, we are creating more permanent jobs to address the problem of the unemployed, graduates. And now let me also say that apart from being a temporary measure, NABCO also sought to provide a kind of a working experience for the people. Ghana and sometimes is so irritating. Somebody who has just left school goes to the job market and he's being told to demonstrate job experience. I don't think they've been fair. Employers have been fair, but this is happening because
Dr. Domfe has to
the supply. So,
Dr. Domfe, you have said that indeed we should pay attention to industrialization because it's going to increase the number of people in permanent jobs, and this is also going to give governments more revenue so that we don't rely so much on foreign aid. So whilst we are looking at this, whilst we are looking at governments creating more industries and all, how can government better coordinate and integrate the social intervention policies? Obviously, these policies will always find expression. So whilst they find the expression, and while government also looks at building industries and setting them up adequately to integrate so many people there, how can government again better coordinate and integrate the social intervention policies available to achieve more impactful and sustainable outcomes? Because it looks like at the moment the outcomes are not as impactful and sustainable as they should be. So how are they going to coordinate these social interventions so that the outcomes are better than what we have seen so far?
Yes, I don't agree with you on that point that the impact has not been so good. No, recently, May this year, World Bank and Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection, and Ministry for Local Government, they got me to look at 3 of these social protections, to look at the beneficiary, to conduct beneficiary survey for these 3. And I was the lead researcher. We were 4 in a number, and I was the lead. So the 4 that we looked at: lead, livelihood empowerment against poverty. We also look at labor-intensive public work. We look at the inclusive production and productivity. We look at these 3, and my sister, the response was very overwhelming. They are working. They are really making, a mark in the life of the vulnerable. And so, talking about the coordinated program, it's already there. Meaning that's why we have the Ministry for, it used to be Ministry for Gender, and now they have added social protection. And that should tell you that they are very serious with social protection. So if you go there, we have a whole directorate that looks at social protection, and we have senior officers that are also in charge of the various social protection programs. And so the whole thing is well coordinated, and every day, we have quite a number of social protections, and so it's well coordinated. And I've been working with Ministry for Gender for many years, and I still work with them, and I can assure you that they are doing very well as far as the coordination is concerned. And they conduct research upon research, and so anytime they identify a problem, immediately they address it. That's why all the ongoing social protection policies, programs, and projects, they've been evaluating what is happening, and anytime they identify any problem, immediately.
Dr. Domfe, if they are well coordinated, if they are indeed well coordinated, as you say, why is it that members or persons who were in the NABCO program are still 3 years after their end of NABCO bemoaning the non-payment of the allowances? It is for this reason that I asked the earlier question, because when we look at the coordination and integration, if it was
NABCO
better than...
is just one out of many that we have now in the system. Yeah, and you know NAPO, how it came as soon when the government was, the current government, when they were campaigning, they saw that there were quite a number of the graduates who were out there, working, and at those days we had what they called graduate association and all that. So immediately, the agenda was that let's get something for them. And so 2017 thereabout, they put this thing together, and they engaged quite a number. Some of us complained the number was so huge, and that's why we are having the challenges, because every year government would come with a budget that this is what I'm going to spend on ABC. And so if anything happens, anything happens that is outside the budget, payment becomes a problem.
But 100,000.
In the last couple of years, we've had some fiscal issues. And so that is what brought about the NABCO thing. And what the agenda there was that let's employ most of them. And I can assure you that if you go to Ghana Revenue Authority, quite a number of them were employed there. I don't have the figures, but significant number of them were absorbed. So government tried to absorb some of them, but still, because the number was so huge, not all of them were able to get into the system. Some of them are still moving about without
100,000 of our youth being on this policy or this program. I don't think that 100,000 is too huge, because you have rightly mentioned that there was an association of unemployed graduates. So many graduates were on the street and were at home without work. And like you said, government saw the problem and sought to look at the problem. However, now they are complaining of their monies. It looks like
that's a challenge.
Like some people haven't been integrated.
I'm wondering why government should wait till now for us to hear this complaint. It's been there for so long now, and it's very ironic, because this particular government came to power. When they came, the previous government, people have worked for 3 years and they were paid only 3 months, but the government went and looked for money to pay them. And so I'm wondering why those who have worked during their time, they are not paying.
Yeah. So that is a problem. To my question,
you can't blame blame Ministry for Gender and Social Protection for this problem, because the NABCO, the way they designed it wasn't directly under them. They were not the ones controlling it.
Which we are not. We are not blaming.
Forestry Commission.
We are not blaming the Ministry for Gender and Social Protection.
We have so many segments. Some were working here, some were working there, and there was a little bit of a challenge there. And the number that
sir, let me come in and ask this question. You just mentioned that the previous government, before the Akufo-Addo government, owed some persons, and then when the Akufo-Addo government came, they paid them. So we now see that it is something that transcends the political parties. One government comes, they face the same problem. The next government comes, they face the same problem.
Let me quickly end you here and say that the one that we talked about, the legacy debt, that they later called it legacy debt. That one, if somebody, a teacher had completed, those days when you were a teacher and you completed school, government will not get money to pay you immediately. Sometimes it takes about a year, and after the year, immediately government will give you some allowance. So after a year or so, they will pay you. I was a teacher, and that's what I went through. After a year, they give you all the arrears. But this time around, the arrears went, the payment delayed for about 3 years, and they were not being paid. So when anytime they have to be paid, government will go back and pay only 3 months, setting aside the 36 months, and they were not paying. And so there were quite a number of agitations, and that's what the government promised. And when they came, that one was huge. It was millions of Ghana cedis. You can't compare that one to this NABCO.
So that's why we are saying that there should be better. There should be better coordination and integration.
It's so unfortunate that they are not paying it. This is very, very small compared to what they paid. 700 times 100,000 is not a number. I didn't even know they haven't paid them. It's not good at all. Well, they should have paid. Seriously.
That's why we are looking at a better coordination and integration of this social intervention policy, so that the impact will be better, the impact will be stronger, and then it will give us some sustainable outcome, because we are seeing that like you said, some are, you didn't even know that they had not been paid, and it's quite unfortunate that after 3 years of working, after 3 years after the program has ended, some of them are still not paid. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Dr. George Domfe is a social policy analyst. He joined us on this conversation of social interventions in the country, the various social intervention policies that the various governments have come up with. And today, what is most paramount on the minds of people is the non-payment of allowances for NABCO persons 3 years after they have ended their NABCO. They say they are owed some 9 months allowance arrears, 700 Ghana cedis every month for 9 months, and because of that they are agitated. They have written to the National Peace Council asking the National Peace Council to step in. They are asking the National Peace Council to step in so that their monies can be given to them. They say that it has been a back and forth between them and the Ministry of Finance and the Jubilee House. They wrote to the Ministry of Finance earlier asking that the allowances be paid, but the Ministry of Finance asked them to go to the Jubilee House because they couldn't pay those allowances. They asked them to go and engage the Jubilee House, and going to the Jubilee House, they have also been asked to go to the Ministry of Finance. So it's been a back and forth between them, and they do not know where to go to. So they have had no option but to resort to demonstrating against the government for the payment of their allowances. But to do that and do that better, they have gone to the National Peace Council, because yesterday, speaking with the organizer of the persons, the association who want to picket at the Jubilee House, they said that they wrote to the police and attached the letter from the Ministry of Finance. Still, the police didn't pay attention to them and has caused them some level of distress. So they are speaking to the Peace Council because the Peace Council has some clout in the country. The Peace Council will speak and the various political actors will act on it. So they are writing to the Peace Council that we want to demonstrate on the week before the elections. The NABCO persons also know what it means for the country the week of the elections and even the weeks leading up to the elections. They know that it's a volatile period. It's a period that you want things to go in a certain direction. So if there are demonstrations happening just a week before elections, that's a cause for worry, something that people should be worried about. But before they go on this demonstration, they have said that National Peace Council speak to government, tell government that we need our monies to be paid. We need our monies to be paid. 9 months allowances is enough money and they can't let it go. They have even said that buying all of the depreciation of the cedi, the inflation that the economy is going through, they just need their 9 months allowance arrears to be paid to them. So on the back of this, we have spoken to Dr. George Domfe, who is a social policy analyst, and we're asking him about the various social interventions that the various governments have implemented, the various social intervention programs from the various governments. Mind you, NABCO employed 100,000 of the unemployed youth into the NABCO program. They enrolled them onto the program so that they could mitigate the problem of unemployment, give them some skills, give them training, and also give them some experiences. Because, you know, like Dr. Domfe said, it's rather unfortunate that you complete your tertiary education, your first year, second year, you apply for a job and they are asking you for experience, knowing so well that it is impossible for you to have had that number of experience. So it means that at that period, it eliminates you from the lot that have come to apply for the job. These have become some of the measures that some companies use to eliminate persons from the lot so that they can limit or narrow down the number to a smaller number. Dr. Domfe said that indeed social policies are deliberately put together to protect the vulnerable. And when you have the vulnerable in the society, you know that the society suffers. If the vulnerable far outweigh every other group, then the society is suffering, because the society should be able to fend for itself. So some of these programs have been put in place to take care of the vulnerable, to empower them in the short term so that they too can stand on their feet. He looked at grants for the school feeding program that happened before era. We've looked at the free SHS policy, the free SHS program by the Akufo-Addo government, seeking to help students to go to school so that money is not the issue why you do not get second cycle education. In the Kufuor era, you remember you would recall that there was the F-Cube, free compulsory universal basic education, to tackle the issue of unenrollment in school, so that if you would not have any form of education, not basic education. Basic education ends in after JHS. So the Kufuor era looked at making sure that at least pupils had basic education, and Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia came to add up by making sure that the Ghanaian students had at least second cycle education. For that reason, there was the free SHS program that has been running up until now. So NAPCO was also a stopgap measure to give persons some experience, to give them some skills ahead of getting other jobs. But we have David Peterson. He is the organizer for the NAPCO coalition, the persons who are agitating for their 9 months allowance arrears. Good morning, Peterson.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
I'm
Peterson,
grateful.
have you received any feedback from the National Peace Council after you petitioned them?
All right. Thank you very much. And I say warm greetings to all your listeners. The petition was sent to the Peace Council on Tuesday. That is 2 days ago, around 3 p.m. And we are giving them up to a week to respond to our petition letter. So as we speak, we've not yet received any response from the Peace Council, but up to next week, probably we'll be getting some feedback from the Peace Council.
Not receive any feedback. What will be your next line of action?
Okay. Actually, we sent them that petition letter to intervene between an issue that is broken up between we, the NAPCO trainees, and the Ghana Police Service. And the issue is that we are having we want to organize a picketing. That was last month. And we chose the Jubilee House as our place of picketing. But the police turned out that permission, saying that it's a security zone and we can't go there to picket. And we made the police know that we chose that venue for a reason. And the reason was that we have been directed or advised by the finance ministry to go there to demand for our money. It's only the president who can give that authorization. So we have been given that and to go there. And we are not going there to create any chaos. We are just going there peacefully to picket there to create the awareness that people need the money. So as the question you asked earlier, if the Peace Council don't respond, or the response we get from them, if it's not encouraging or favorable, our next line of action is that we are going to have a press conference. And immediately after the press conference, we are going to stage a massive picketing at the forecourt of the Jubilee House. So these are the arrangements we have put in place. But we hold on and we are waiting for the response that we are going to get from the Peace Council.
Peterson, when you were on the NAPCO program, how much were you paid a month?
We were paid 700.
700 Ghana cedis. And
yes, please, 700.
Yesterday we spoke to you on our midday news and said that they were owing you some 9 months off your allowances.
Yes,
Is
please.
that so?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So yes, so they are owing 9 months. In general, we can give the 9 months in a sense that most NAPCO trainings are owed 9 months. I know there are few who are owed 8 months, but majority of us, if I'm putting it in percentage wise, we can still say about 90% of NAPCO trainings are owed 9 months, and a few are owed 8 months. So it varies between 9 and 8, but most of us are owed 9 months.
Peterson, when you wrote to the Ministry of Finance concerning your allowances, did you receive any feedback on when you'd receive these monies? Or did you receive any feedback concerning the letter you wrote to the Ministry of Finance?
Yes, please. So that was the advice we had from the Ministry of Finance. What they gave to us was an advice. And the advice was that we...
Hello, Peterson. Hello, Peterson. David, we've lost David Peterson. We're hoping to establish contact with him very soon. But he was telling us about why they have written to the National Peace Council. They have mentioned the police are not allowing them to go and picket. So they want the Peace Council to step in so that they can demand from government what is owed them. He says that about 90% of them are owed 9 months allowance arrears from the NAPCO program that they were enrolled on. So we've looked at social intervention policies in the country and how we can better look at them so that we can strategize better, because it looks like there are always intervention policies, but something can be done so that persons after their undergraduates can get some form of permanent employment. So this has been all for Front Story this morning. Thank you for joining us on Front Story. Up next is Trends. We want to see what is trending in Ghana.
Attention business owners, it's time to take your business to the next level with ABC News GH Television's mega promo. From August 1st to October 31st, 2024, we're offering you unbeatable deals to advertise your products and services. Don't miss out on this amazing chance to reach more people and grow your brand. For more details, give us a call on 050-993-0360. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Follow us on social media at ABC News GH _.
Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 is here. ScanBrain Limited, organizers of the Best Inventor Ghana, has opened registration for the 3rd season of this innovative show. Who can enter? Manufacturers of innovative solutions for daily use. Winner goes home with 5,000 Ghana cedis. First runner-up with 3,000 Ghana cedis. And second runner-up with 2,000 Ghana cedis. The show will be broadcast on ABC News Ghana Television. Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 begins on the 21st of September 2024 at the Assembly Hall of the St. John's Grammar School. Registration is open to everyone. Call us now on 054-955-4148 to register. in the country if you do not know what is trending. It's very necessary that you know what is trending in the country. You get offline for just 1 hour and so much happens behind you and you need to catch up. It's for this reason why we bring you trends on ABC in the morning. Godwin is on to give us what is trending in Ghana. Hello, Godwin. Hello, Godwin.
Hello, Abena.
Godwin, what is trend?
Yeah, Abena, today we have some top personalities. I mean, they are all politicians trending. And we also have a developing story about our Ghanaian news also trending. But we will take our viewers into the top 4 trends, which is Napo, Wontumi, John Mahama, and Ken Ofori-Atta. So that is what I'm bringing to our viewers from this time until in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So going me, Mahama, and the main is the his spokesperson, Fifi Boafo, went on Star Chat, said Apo is as he is go-getter and results-oriented person. He also said what he believes is selective reporting on brief portions of the MPP running mate's campaign addresses. So he is City FM is saying, Frank Fifi Boafo is saying, the media keeps taking actions of what even if he's arrogant as perceived. None of the intellectuals in the NDC come close to him. Fact and not emotions. And we also have Chairman Wontumi trending. Chairman Wontumi, because he made a comment. Posted that comment. Ghana Web wrote an article on that comment. He said, I will deal with you. A response to a warning to ex-Ashanti Regional Police Commander COP Kofi Boakye. It says, General Marcus says, kindly tag the Ghana Police Service under this post. Let them take action quickly. Let them not pretend they haven't seen this. Tag them quickly. And we also put Chairman Wontumi trending on Galamsey issues. So on Galamsey, there is an account on Twitter that is Shatawale. And people perceive that account not to be Shatawale, the Ghanaian artist that we have here. So, under that post, it says, this site belongs to Chairman Wontumi, very useful, useless beings. Sorry. It says, very useful being. And there is a video to this post. Let's watch the video. But whoever it belongs to, if the person comes to you and tell you to destroy your land, and you love your mother too much, no one can entice you with money to kill her. We also have Tony saying, how did you come into conclusion that you did do some? And we have Indaboski also saying the whole nation is complaining about how they are polluting our water bodies and forests, but it's as if they don't hear or don't give a single F. It's obvious that for this to end, he said, it's obvious that for this to end, then we ought to send these people out of office. And that is the end of trends for Chairman Wontumi. We move on to Ken Ofori-Atta. Ken Ofori-Atta is trending because recently Michael Blackson, Ghanaian American actor and comedian, said he has been cheated when it comes to the Euro bonds, and he made a lot of comments. So under that, this one came and said, Uncle Pakwesi, he said, you convert your dollars to cedis at the rate of $1 equals 6 cedis to invest in Ghana. 2 years later, the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, decides to slash your investment by 30%, while the value of your money by Ghana cedi, 16 cedis, is $1. This is the real devil himself, with an image of Ken Ofori-Atta. Then Dr. Sneaker Nyame is also saying, let me tell you a secret. The National Cathedral project isn't $158 million as reported. The amount Ken Ofori-Atta and his people need for the project is $400 million. That's the money they need to complete the project. And also the last trend is John Mahama. He's actually on a tour in the Ahafo region, that is Goso, and when he got to the middle of the town, somewhere around Goso, the nursing training students there blocked the road for him to also have a conversation with him. That is what has been trending on Twitter for today. So let's get into the world of sports. When in sports, 4 Ghanaian Premier League clubs, that is Hearts of Oak, Accra Lions, Dreams FC, and Legon Cities, are set to share the University of Ghana Stadium as their home ground due to the closure of Accra Sports Stadium for maintenance. Legon Cities already use the facility as their primary venue, but the closure has forced Hearts of Oak, Accra Lions, and Dreams FC to relocate. Dreams FC will take on Pando Heart of Lions. Accra Lions will also play their next match at the same venue. The University of Ghana Stadium, recently renovated by the President Akufo-Addo for African Games 2023, has a 10,000 seat capacity. The government invested $34 million in upgrading the facility to meet international standards. So over the weekends, when you see Accra Hearts of Oak playing at the Legon Stadium, as well as Accra Lions and Dreams FC, the Accra Sports Stadium has been closed for maintenance, and they have to be there to play the Ghana Premier League. And that brings us to the end of sports and trends for today. I am Godwin Opoku-Ochre. I will hand over to Abna to continue from there.
That has been all 4 trends today. Like I said, you always need to be abreast with what is happening. Otherwise, you go offline for a little while, and the next thing, everybody is ahead of you. You don't know what is happening. It's for this reason why trends is very important, and we make it a priority on ABC in the morning. We'll be back. Stay with us. us. You're still watching ABC in the morning on ABC News GH. Up next is health tips. And you know that your health is your wealth. If you're not healthy, there's so much that you're unable to do. When you're sick, you are limited in the things that you're able to achieve. For that, we bring you health tips. Well, Andy is on the line to join us with health tips. Hi, Andy.
Hello, Abena.
Andy, what should we be expecting in health tips today?
Yeah. And it's basically most of the times when you go set for the day, some days be able to apologize for the technical hitches there. So as we are going through the 7 daily healthy habits to set your tone or the day for to set a tone for the day to have a productive and efficient day, the first step or the first thing we are looking at is to stay hydrated. Up to 60% of the human adult body is water, so there is a need for us to stay hydrated. According to Mitchell and others, the brain and heart are composed of 73% of water, and the lungs are about 83% water. The skin contains 64% of water. The muscles and kidneys are 79% of water, and even the bones are watery, which also contains 31% of water. So there is a need to always drink water. Most of the times when you go through the day, you get you forget to take in water and then drink the required water that you need to. So one advice that I will give you on healthy tips right here on ABC in the morning is when you wake up in the morning, before you get from your bed after praying to your Lord and thank being part of the living, you have to take in a before you brush your teeth, or you drink, or you eat, or anything. And then whilst you go through the day, you can be taking water. So bear in mind that you can drink a glass of water before you brush your teeth. So the first step is to stay hydrated. Drink water in intervals of 30 minutes or an hour to be able to stay hydrated always. The second step we are giving you to be able to have a great and productive day is to have breakfast. Most of the times, the work that we find ourselves doing, we don't get time to eat, or even if we get time to eat, we are pressured in a way to be able to move to our desks and continue what we are doing. So you are advised to eat in the morning. You can take a breakfast, have your oats and bread, or you can get your tea and bread, or whatever breakfast that you think you can have in the morning before you set off. It will really be of a good help to you. The third step that we are giving you is to have healthy snacks. Keep healthy snacks nearby to curb unhealthy cravings throughout the day. So wait, you get your breakfast in the morning and you eat whatever you have to eat in the morning and you are setting off, you're advised to come along with some healthy snacks. Healthy snacks will help you intervals when you are either at your work or you're at lectures and it's not time for lunch. You can grab some biscuits or whatever snack you're having with you to be able to prevent these unhealthy cravings or you from starving yourself throughout the day. Something to eat in the afternoon. So bear in mind to have some healthy snacks with you. The fourth thing that we're also looking at is some fresh fruit. Fruits are very important, as I believe you know. I'm not going to stress and spend a lot of time here. Incorporate fresh fruit into your breakfast for a boost of vitamins and nutrients that you need to have. So in your breakfast in the morning, you can have either banana, pawpaw, or any fruit that you can get. Whilst you also leave the house for work or for lectures or where you are going, you are also advised to go along with some fruit. It could be a pocket of fruit or some fruit that you have also set by to put in add to your healthy snacks that I mentioned in the third step. The fifth step that we are looking at is be mindful, have or experience mindful moments. Take a minute each morning for mindfulness, meditation, or deep breathing. And what I normally say to everybody is that these mindful moments are times that you can go through to not necessarily do productive work, but to bear yourself in mind and to grow and develop yourself. So you can have these mindful moments by having your quiet time with the Lord. You can also do that by reading. You can also do that by sitting down quietly to taking a deep breath so that you can be able to think of things that you need to keep you productive. The sixth step we are giving is plan your day. Plan your day. And yesterday from Tech Trick, we learned that you should be mindful and use reminders on your phone. So today on Healthy Tips, we are giving you and letting you that you need to plan your day. And planning your day, you can incorporate reminders and it will remind you anytime you forget. So prioritize tasks, set realistic goals, and make a to-do list of the things that you want to do during the day. When this happens, you know how and where you need to get to, where you need to be at, and whom you need to be at the right time, so that you don't misplace or be at a different place whilst you are not supposed to be. So you will be advised to plan your day effectively. The last tip we are giving you on Healthy Tips right here on ABC in the morning is consult a professional. This is not done, and it's done once a while, but you advise that you should consult a professional. Consulting a professional shouldn't be something daily though, but once in a while, if you go through your daily activities, your productive day, and you sense that there is either a hitch or you're feeling some weakness in any part of your body, you're advised to see or consult a professional anytime you are going through a stress day. So Abena, this is what we brought to our audience and our viewers on ABC in the morning on Health Tips.
Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.
So Andy has brought us so many health tips to take note of as we go through our day, and he ended by saying that do well to prioritize the day and then set your reminders and know what to do so that you don't end the day without doing the things that you set out to do. Otherwise you end the day feeling very down. You'll be disappointed in yourself that you sought to do A, you sought to do C, you sought to do F, and it didn't happen. So do well to set reminders and then catalog your day. It will help. So Andy brought you health tips. Up next is Business Fix. statistics, we're looking at business, we're looking at the financial sector, the banking sector, the whole sector that makes up business. And we are still focusing on Bank of Ghana's reports, Bank of Ghana's fraud report. The fraud report indicated various things that we should pay attention to, and today we want to pay attention to digitalization and fraudulent activities on payment system portals. The Bank of Ghana showed in the report that our payment service providers were finding some fraud there. Let's take a look at a graph that was included in the report. A graph included in the report, and it had a lot to show us on the report. This is a graph. The graph showed a monthly, it showed the monthly fraud loss in 2023 on the payment service providers. These are what it showed. You can see that it is from January till December. You can see a steady rise from January, and the monies we are looking at on this graph is 500,000, 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million, 2.5. We are seeing the monies on the graph. Sorry, 500,000, 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million, 2.5. You see that from January up until December, there is a trend. It was a steady rise from January through to February, and then you can see a very slight decline when we got to March, and then it began to rise again in April and May, and then there was sort of like a plateau between April and May. Then the fraud loss began to fall in June, and then it started rising again from July, hit a peak in August, fell when it came to September, started a slow decline again in October, November, and then straight it took a very strong turn up. And in the report it says that this loss, you could see that it found expression during the Christmas, during the festive season. The fraud loss on payment service providers was high. It was quite high, and we want to see why these things persist, because if we are looking at this trend, it means that there is a problem in our sector. So we want to speak with someone who can give us more information on this, clarify our thoughts on this, and then advise us on what to do. Joseph Quay is the cybercrime lead at the eCrime Bureau, and he joins us on the line. Good morning, Joseph.
Hello, good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Joseph. Thank you for joining us.
Right, thank you very much.
Joseph, would you say that digitalization has been a blessing or a bane to our banking system?
Right. As to whether it has been a blessing or, I think for the most part, to answer this question directly, will be that it has been a blessing in the sense that if you look at the advantages that it has come with, right, they far outweigh the negatives. So I think directly to answer the question, yes, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing for us to digitize. It's included so many people who could not be able to fit in a typical setting of the financial ecosystem. And on that front alone, and then the impact of the economy, I think it's been a blessing. Although definitely there are certain things that, from the context of this interview, it lets us know that there are issues that are there that need to be looked at. But in summary, I'll say that it's been a blessing. We can discuss further on some of these issues.
So, Joseph, how would you describe our current state of Ghana's digital environment, especially in relation to the banking system?
Right. So, with the state of our current ecosystem, in terms of digitalization, I would say that we are currently established, right, trending towards best practices. And when I say that, what I mean by that is the financial is like environment, the ecosystem now. It's very difficult to even find a financial one financial company or one organization that doesn't have some kind of digital product, right? Even when you go to the typical like rural banks and microfinance services, you find that even with them, they still are introducing some digital product here and there. So I would say that we are established in the sense that there is the presence of financial product when it comes to digital financial product within almost every sector of our financial sector as it stands now. So that is a reality of things. It just happens to be that it's driven more by the commercial banks, right? But we are heavily within the digital ecosystem when it comes to our financial sector, at least from where I sit.
Joseph, per the graph we looked at before the conversation started, we saw that on the PSPs, the issue of fraud is quite high, especially during the Christmas season. Would you say that our PSPs have provided customers with the maximum security to engage on their systems?
Yeah, that's a very good question. On that, considering, so I want to put certain things in context, right? The kind of issues we are seeing, right, is also tied to the adoption and the growth of the digital ecosystem, right, and the usage of and the process of transactions. So if you look at the same fraud report from the perspective of even transactions alone, you would find that between just a year, right, between 2022 and then 2023, if you take the volume of transactions that happened over e-money or mobile money, it was like 5 billion in 2022. You go to 2023, it's 6.8 billion. That's like 36% increase. So if you look at this, right, what it tells you is that you are having more actors play in the system in terms of the usage by the customers. What it also means is that the number of people who are using some of these products are increasing. So sometimes it's really a matter of statistics, right? The more people increase, right, the same people who are increasing, you have bad people within it who are doing fraud. So then the fraud also increases as well. So I just wanted to give that backstory to what we are experiencing, right? To what we are experiencing before then going into the actual security provided by these PSPs. Now, on the security aspect, what I will say is that I think as it stands now, the regulation by the Bank of Ghana, right, which forces some of these entities who want to be in the digital space to have certain benchmarks and things to sign off to. So, for example, if you're in the banking sector, you ought to have complied or you should be complying to the Bank of Ghana's information security directives, right, which has certain mandates that you have to go through, which will by force or will force you to sanitize your environment. So regulation-wise, it's forcing a lot of them to put measures in place. Where I see the issue is that our measures are focusing more on institutional strength in terms of putting adequate security in place so that people don't get to attempt fraud as much. And it's showing in the figures. If you look at the figures, you realize that the attempted fraud loss, okay, as the actual attempted versus what was actually lost on a year-by-year basis, it has actually decreased. That means that whilst the attempts to commit fraud may have increased, the actual success in retrieving those monies is difficult, right? And that is really as a result of some of this regulation. But I'm saying what I find as an issue or an area of improvement is the customer-centric security, right? Which I'm starting to see with some of the financial products. You log into some banking app, and before you even transact, they prop up a prompt that, hey, be careful, this type of fraud is there, so be careful how you go about it and whatnot. So I'm seeing that, but it's few, right? So the customer-centric or the approach of protecting the customers, sometimes at their own expense, I'm not seeing a lot of that, right? I've been at places where if you download a banking product or a payment-based product, your phone itself that you are using to download or your device you are using to download, they will scan it to make sure that that device doesn't already have some compromised things sitting on it, so that if the banking app or the financial product comes to sit on that phone, the possibility of someone spying on it is not high. So they will check and do all of these checks. And these are all part of the customer-centric security measures that I think we need to improve on. I think we are lacking a bit in this, and for that reason, we will be experiencing some of the fraud that we are experiencing.
Just as examples, in improving the customer-centric security measures, isn't it about time that the providers went to the people to engage them rather than always sending messages? Like you said, you get on the app and then you see a message. Not all of the persons who use some of these systems are able to read as much. So they see something and then they just skip it. Isn't it about time the providers went to the people, took the education to the people, to their doorsteps?
Look, I agree with you entirely. I think that we ought to do more, right? That's why I even mentioned as an area of like major improvement you need to really look at. We can do so much more, right? We need to do. I have been part of a particular financial bank, right? Wouldn't mention names, which actually held forums, right, on during at the end of the year to engage their customers, and then they would demonstrate some of the risk that they were likely to experience when they come online and some of these things. But then, you know, the little experience I had with that, I realized that sometimes they also have a caution or a worry, which is that people are already a bit wary about using digital platforms. So the moment you don't handle these conversations well,
Joseph,
right,
Joseph,
yes.
Can you please lean back just a little bit so that we can see you better? Yes, thank you. Kindly go on.
Better?
Yes, it
fantastic.
is.
So, with some of these forums, one of the challenges that some of the, sector players have faced is that the people you are talking to are already, they are already new to the digital spaces. They are now trying to trust these spaces. So if the conversation is not handled well enough, it makes it look like, okay, look, my suspicions about the digital space was true. I'm never going to use any digital product. And then they subscribe. So it's a balance to it. But I agree with you entirely that we ought to do more. We ought to engage the customers more in this. And even aside engagement, I think we need to start making more data-driven decisions. When I say data-driven decisions, for example, if you take the mobile money ecosystem, right, consisting of all the players of MTN, Airtel, Tigo, Vodafone, Cash, I believe that over time, the people who have suffered attacks or have suffered fraud, there is a pattern to them, right? I believe if you study the cases, you would realize that, okay, maybe, people within a certain kind of demographic or a particular age group are more susceptible to these things as compared to some other group. So if you have this information, the question is, this is data. How do you use it for security? So one of the ways you could use it for security is that if I find that this particular group of people are more prone to fraud, then the system I've designed for payments, right, would change around those people. So if I realize you don't do mobile money transactions all the time, you probably send your children to go and do it on your behalf, then the way you would cash out would be different from how the average person who may be more educated about these platforms go about it. So
this means that will have to be tailor-made.
Yes, tailor-made, right? Tailor-made based on the data we are having, right? Because again, I'm sure if I talk to you, I told you right now that, hey, so I sent you a message, like I sent mobile money to you by mistake. I mean, I'm sure that you read the first two lines and be like, I'm a fraudster. But they're still working on people. So what kind of people is this working on? So that kind of data should feed into the systems we are designing from a security perspective. You can't apply one custom rule to one rule to everybody, because then sometimes it makes it inconvenient. Someone like myself, like if I have to go through, okay, allow cash out, sometimes it's very inconvenient for me. But for some people, right, they may have to go like that. If you are enrolling your vendors, your mobile money merchants or whatever, and you realize that, look, these people who are in this jurisdiction, they are normally targeted by certain, because there are areas in Ghana that certain crimes are very prevalent, even payment-based crimes. So how do you use that data to change your product to provide more security for your customers, right? And I think some of these things, once we start incorporating it into the solutions that are building and whatnot, I believe that it would automatically, or it will lead to improved security within this area and the reducing of these fraud types you are seeing.
Thank you so much, Joseph.
Thank you too. Thank you very much.
Joseph Kwe is the lead cybercrime at the E-Crime Bureau. He's throwing some light on fraud on the payment service providers platform. This has been Business Fix. We'll be going straight into our main discussion for the day. Discussion this morning, organized labor has maintained its stance on the Galamsey issue after meeting with the ad hoc committee. The ad hoc ministerial committee set up by the president to address illegal mining in the country has assured members of the public that a lasting solution will be found to tackle the challenge head on. This followed a crunch meeting with organized labor on Tuesday, which the Minister of Information Fatima Abubakar described as very fruitful and encouraging. The almost 3-hour meeting was attended by the Minister of National Security, Albert Kandapa, who leads the committee, Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abujinapo, Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwol, Employment, Labor Relations and Pensions Minister Ignatius Bafwewa, and the Information Minister. According to sources, representatives of organized labor reiterated previous demands to tackle the Galamsey menace, which included a ban on all forms of small-scale mining, a declaration of state of emergency, and reforms to stop mining laws. A compelling case was made for government and other stakeholders to work together as partners to help address the Galamsey issue.
And this is for and small scale for Atuabamu, Amma winning was Buisia was Oma winning 16 Asia Wasa, and then Omsoba, the MPP for Tutu Mama, Omobom the children. Catch this for say, and Tonade, and chat, and Tonade, and Tonade, and Tonade. Tutu Mobi. Then you be a excavator, Bemano. Over the walk on Sessi, the Mabua. Obia Bako. Not from where for the Scandinavia day, NDD, none one is Scandinavia day, NDD, not from the next Scandinavia day in Puntu, and then no credit. say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia eba obegu small scale mining enye no kre yes see the yempe ni obi odi shamfa be dey odbesi so Opia, obey no, say yes, obeso ya bind the enemy, yet to check concession, Emo, Opia Benabia. Mr. Day, Opia Benabia, also Obia Day, also Obia Day, also Obia Chocotrum, no Cotter, Mana, a John Foreman's Day, Eddie, Lebois. Aha.
So that was Napo. Yes. The running mate to Dr. Bawumia ahead of the 2024 elections. Meku Duka also spoke on small-scale mining. Let's take a listen to him. He is the Deputy Land Minister.
In our river bodies, there are measures we need to take to clamp down recalcitrant who are destroying our river bodies. And I agree with them perfectly. And I agree with Ghanaians on the call to wake up on the battle against irresponsible mining. But I am personally against the call for the ban on mining generally. You can ban mining. I mean, why must you ban mining? If, for example, you do an audit and there are infractions in a company, do you collapse the company or you correct the infractions? It's better for you to correct the infractions and move on. Have a very organized in our river bodies. There are measures we need to take to clamp down recalcitrant who are destroying our river bodies. And I agree with them perfectly. And I agree with Ghanaians on the call to wake up on the battle against irresponsible mining. But I am personally against the call for the ban on mining generally. You can ban mining. I mean, why must you ban mining? If, for example, you do an audit and there are infractions in a company, do you collapse the company or you correct the infractions? It's better for you to correct.
George Meku Duka, he is the MP for Tarkwa and Suaim and the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. That's an MP in a place where we mine. He has said that he is personally against the call to ban small-scale mining, because if your company finds some infractions after some auditing, you won't shut down the company. You'd look at assessing it. Let's take a look at some information on this issue of mining. The labor union groups and their demands on the ban on illegal mining. The labor union says that ban illegal mining, and they are demanding evacuation of all mining equipment from forest reserves and water bodies. They are also asking that they revoke Law 2462 and withdraw all mining and prospecting licensing in sensitive ecosystem. UTAG has also said, so what I just read is from the Ghana Association of Teachers, NAT. They are asking for an evacuation of all mining equipment and a revoke of Law 2462. The Teacher Union Association, the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, have also called for an immediate and complete ban on all forms of illegal mining. They said they will embark on a nationwide strike by the end of the month if the ban is not imposed. From TUTAG, who are the Technical Union Teachers Association of Ghana, they are also saying that there will be a nationwide demonstration to combat illegal mining and protect water bodies, and their protest is aimed at raising awareness about the environmental and health crisis posed by Galamsey. It is no news the health crisis that Galamsey poses to us as a people, the health risk amongst other risks, and these labor unions are asking for a ban. The Ghana Medical Association of Ghana says that government should ban all small-scale mining operations, whether legal or illegal. So as for the Ghana Medical Association, whether it is a legal venture or an illegal venture, they are saying that ban it. They said political parties should publish a duly signed document on their commitment to fight illegal mining activities in Ghana. So they want to see some political will from the political parties against Galamsey. And from the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, they are urging government to impose a ban on illegal mining to protect the environment, farmers' livelihoods, and food security. And they are well within their rights to be talking about farmers' livelihood, the environment, and food security. Farmers work on the lands, and they know how much they are affected by illegal mining. The cocoa sector and food crop production have been severely impacted, with farmers facing difficulties in accessing usable water and fertile soil. Occupy Ghana says that there should be the prosecution of individuals involved in mining activities within protected areas, and they are calling for a 3-month ban on all mining activities to curb the ongoing environmental destruction. So Occupy Ghana wants a 3-month ban on all mining activities. And the Mobile Money Association of Ghana says that if no action is taken by the end of September, their association will stop operations and protest nationwide. And they have proposed a strike. Their proposed strike is intended to underscore the gravity of the environmental destruction and degradation we are going through. And the Christian Council has urged governments and all Ghanaians to be courageous in sustaining the campaign against Galamsey. And they demand that any individual, security service personnel, politician, or chief who is found to be working to thwart the efforts of the fight against illegal mining should be made to face the full rigors of the law. We have joining us the National Communications Director of the Association of Small Scale Farmers, Abdul Razak Al Hassan, over the phone. Good morning, Al Hassan.
Good morning, my sister.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
As the Communications Director for the Ghana Small Scale Association, the Small Scale Mining Association, what do you make of all of these calls that there should be a ban on small scale mining?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and I agree to your listeners and viewers. It is unfortunate people will be calling for a total ban on small scale mining activities. This is an industry whereby legal small-scale miners and large-scale companies both are mining legally by the laws that they've given to us in this country to manage our resources. And we have institutions who are managing these resources. And these institutions are the Minerals Commission, the Water Resources, and then EPA. Even under Minerals Commission, we still have inspectorate who are managing our activities and backed by law. So if there is a distraction or there is something illegal going on, must we say we should ban a section of the group, leaving the others? It doesn't work that way. Anything which is illegal is illegal. How do we take the illegalities out of the system? And then we make sure that the legal ones work professionally. Because we have two categories in the mining sector. We have the small scale and then we have the large scale. And people proposing, some suggesting that there should be a temporary ban on small scale mining. Some are even saying that there should be a total ban on small scale mining. These same people were in this country when the government came into power in 2017 and kept a blanket ban on small scale mining activities, whether legal or illegal. What ideas, what proposal have they held or have they given to government to formalize the system? We, the legal small-scale miners, were at home whilst illegalities were still going on. And even 2018, the government itself came out by saying that Ghana has produced a whole lot of gold in 2018 under small-scale mining, whereby we were sitting at home. So this call for that total ban again is neither here nor there. If we are talking of total ban on mining, whether large or small, that will be a different conversation. But when we are talking of illegalities, it should be dealt with as an illegal venture. Sorry, my voice is turning around.
Okay, your
on the part of
Abdul Razak,
the illegality that. Hello.
Yes, your association is part of the labor unions. However, members of the same labor unions have now turned to say that they should ban small-scale mining, which is not illegal in the country. Small-scale mining is not illegal. Isn't it looking like a house fighting against itself? Because it is members of the same labor union that is now, of the same organized labor that is now saying that ban what some of our members are doing.
It is unfortunate our labor union or they've not contacted the section that we operate to ask of our views, and they came out with such utterances. Because when we talk of illegal mining which is going on, we are particularly on two issues, which is the river bank, or those who are on the river body, and then those who are mining in forest reserves. These places are posing a serious danger on our lives and everything in the country, the environment. Now, with the small-scale mining industry, we as small-scale mining association members, there's no law in this country which mandates us to mine on river bodies. If you can check the Mineral Act, you can check everywhere. They don't give us licenses to mine on river bodies. Now, when it comes to the forest reserves, government on its own decided that the small-scale miners shouldn't be part of the team who can mine in in the forest reserve, because we don't have the capacity and those things. So that one, they don't give us licenses to mine in forest reserves. It's only the large-scale companies who have that privilege. So if there's something going on and you are coming out to say such a thing, it's good to do an investigation to understand the people who are in the forest, so that you can come out with this. But when you discriminate by saying that they should ban small-scale mining, meanwhile, we don't mine in forest reserves and we don't mine on river bodies. What type of discrimination is this? So if they want to deal with the issue, let's deal the issue holistically as a nation. And we, the industry players, should play a major role in dealing with this canker. But that discriminatory aspect is not going to help anybody.
During the crunch meeting between organized labor and the ad hoc committee, was your association invited to the meeting?
No, my sister. I think we'll be meeting that committee tomorrow, God willing.
You'll be meeting them tomorrow. So tomorrow when you meet them, what are some of the things you'll be suggesting to the ad hoc committee about looking at this issue
my
holistically?
Sister, it's premature. We were going to listen to them. When things that they want us to do, things that they intend to do, then we also come out with maybe our ideas and what we think as industry players, what we can do for them. For now, it's still premature because we don't know the reason why they are calling us, because they are calling us to have a meeting with them. And when we listen to them, that's where we can also bring our ideas and things that we think that we can use to fight this illegality.
Abdul Razak, before you go, you have mentioned that you are not, the small-scale miners are not the ones who are depleting our reserves. You are not the ones that are causing this menace. Why do you think that you have been targeted?
Come again. You say, what do I think that?
You said that small-scale miners are not the ones who are mining in the forest reserves. You are not the ones who are mining on the water bodies. Why then do you think that all the calls are coming directed at you?
Yeah, my sister, the reason being that people don't understand and they don't investigate to know the truth of the industry. They combine everything, because people have been saying that they know the difference between, there's a thin line between small scale and then galamsey and those things. So they don't understand the dynamics in it. So they come, anytime that they see any mining going on, it's the small scale mining sector. Meanwhile, that is not true. If you want the thin line they are even talking of, I don't know where they are getting it from. Even the large scale companies, there's no way you can mine without disturbing the environment. You disturb the environment after the disturbance. What do you do? Well, after taking your ore out, what do? That is where you rehabilitate the land. It's the same procedure we are also using, whereby institutions are supervising us. Like I said already, you cannot go and mine at a place without the supervision of EPA. without the supervision of inspectorate division, without the inspection of water resources, and then the Minerals Commission officers are always going around to monitor our activities. So if somebody is doing something illegal, you don't box all of us together. So the call for that, it is their perception, people's perception. I think in 2017, when this ban came, there was a posture where this media coalition against Galamsey took. But when they got into the middle of the whole thing, they realized that no. They were accusing us wrongly. They now reverse. Even if you could hear this time around with coalition against media coalition against Galamsey, they are not talking of total ban on small scale. They are also mentioning that the illegal ones, especially the water reserves and then the forest reserves, they should look at the LI and then revoke all these things. They are not talking of the ban again because they realize that they were misled. So that is the fact of the matter. So many people are speaking in a context or the spectacle they are wearing. They don't understand the industry, but they come out to say a whole lot of things which they don't understand. So it is good, like the intellectuals and those things, it's good for them to do their research and their investigations very well. Because if you don't understand this type of things, you always create a whole lot of problems. Because the Ghana Medical Association, for instance, things that they are saying, are they saying that all the doctors in this country are perfect? Do some of them kill people with negligence? So if such a person, we have quack doctors who are going around creating problem, when with that, will somebody propose that they should ban all doctors from operating? UTAG, students are failing. There are some, what is the name? An issue came out, Test for Grace and those things came in. So with those type of things, should they ban all university teachers from...
so are you trying to say that within the small scale miners, there are certain people and certain elements that are involved in illegal mining?
My sister, I'm saying that anything illegal is illegal. And I cannot sit here and pretend that you may not have recalcitrant ones like any other institution does. You have media people who are reporting wrongly. Must you ban all these media people? We may have recalcitrant ones which we can still face them out because there are laws guiding our activities. And anybody who is practicing wrongly, who is doing an illegal activity, they should be dealt with iron hands. We are for it. We are for anybody who is calling for the illegal activities to be stopped. We ourselves are not happy as industry players because these waters that they are disturbing, these waters that they are destroying, we need the water than anybody. Because when you want to get pure purification of your gold, you need pure water, you need clean water. You don't need mud to go and be working. So we are even having sleepless nights over these things. But sometimes the posture of the government some time ago, it has created all this things. Because that time we came out trying to sit with them as industry players, but they wouldn't listen until we got to this level. So I think now that the whole nation is fighting against this, and it is time for all of us to see how best we can come out with pragmatic measures and make sure that these illegal miners are taken out of the system.
Said that some time ago you tried to sit with governments and governments didn't listen. We are hoping that tomorrow when you go sit with them, since they have called you into a meeting, they listen and then you have more to give us on this development on Galamsey. Thank you for joining us, Al-Hassan.
You're welcome, Master.
Abdul Razak Al-Hassan is the Communications Director for the Association of Small Scale Mining. Government has terminated the mining leases for FGR Bogoso and Pistia Mining. The government has announced that the mining leases for FGR Bogoso Pistia Mining Limited, following recommendations from Mineral Commissions and Attorney General and Minister for Justice. The announcement was made in a statement signed by the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, on Wednesday, September 18, 2024. FGR was cautioned in August 2023 about some breaches pertaining to its mining operations and advised by the Minerals Commission to have them remedied. The decision comes after a series of protests and concerns raised by various stakeholders, including the Guyana Mine Workers Union. Over 400 members of the Mine Workers Union picketed at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, demanding the termination of FGR Bogoso Pristia's mining lease. The union, among other things, cited poor working conditions and the company's failure to address critical operational issues, including meeting its debt obligations. Meanwhile, Blue Gold Bogoso Pristia Mining Limited has raised concerns about the termination of the mining lease for future global resources. The company, in a statement on Wednesday, September 18, asserted that the reason for which the minister, Samuel Abu Jinapor, announced the termination of mining lease will be strongly disputed, stating that the mining leases remain fully valid and the property of the company. To acquire mining leases, Ghana has stringent requirements for acquiring the mining leases and for mineral extraction and environmental protection. We will have a conversation with the former CEO of the Minerals Commission, Tony Oben, who joins us on the line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on ABC in the morning.
It's my pleasure, and good morning to your viewers and listeners.
So what do you make of the termination of the mining leases of FGR Bogoso Pristia Mining Limited by the Minerals Commission?
Well, by the Constitution, all the minerals in their natural state belong to Ghanaians, and it's held in trust by the President, which means that the minerals in their natural state are the property of the state. So we lease part of the ground for which mining should take place to people who demonstrate ability to do that. So the question that I ask is, the day, for a mining for an investor to be in a place and within just 4 years, they are unable to deliver the purpose for which they were granted the lease. I think it is worrying. You also would want to question government, what they saw for which they granted that, because you should have done some work, you should have been convinced about the capability, both financial and technical, of pursuing the rights that have been granted. So the question goes back to government as to what did they do? What kind of feasibility studies, what kind of investigations they do about Blue Water and, of course, the FGR before they granted that lease? The Bogoso Pristia mine is an old mine. It's not a very new mine. And there are still some resources. Particularly the Pristia underground is very, very, it's known to be resourceful. And I think that was the reason for which the investors came to invest in that area. So that question, I think government would have to explain. The ministry and then the Minerals Commission would have to explain what attracted them to granting that license to them. But be that as it may, every lease has conditions around it. If you have the lease, there are conditions for which you would fulfill to sort of maintain your right to the lease. Now, the question I have to ask is whether those conditions have been met, whether the FGR fulfilled this side of the conditions, or government also fulfilled this side of the conditions. That I'm not too clear about. I know that FGR has been in challenge for quite some time, which is not acceptable though, because as an investor you should know the situation, and you should be able to provide the level of investment that is required to address those situations. So the question that needs to be asked is whether they've met the requirement, and if they haven't met, government may have the right to terminate. Okay. But what I have heard, and I have not had a detailed look at these two agreements. Initially it was with FGR. Initially the lease was with FGR, and I have to confirm this. And then later on they transferred the interest to Blue Gold or Blue Water? Blue Gold, the Blue Gold holding. So once the rights have been transferred to this new entity, one needs to understand the nature of the transfer, whether the transfer entitled Blue Gold to be able to say that, look, this is my lease, and therefore the new conditions actually arise. And if that is so, then terminating the lease of FGR may not have any effect. You see what I'm saying? There are two. The lease appears to have been transferred to another entity, another company. Now, government must agree for that transfer to happen. So, if government agreed to ensure the transfer, then to go ahead and cancel FGR's title to the lease is something that needs to be understood better, and that's really the challenge.
So would you say that there has been strong enforcement of the mining licensing requirements in Ghana?
For the large-scale mining companies, I can say that they have enforced the laws quite well for the large-scale mining companies. And the reason that has been successful, look at what has happened. All of a sudden, a lease has been taken away from a mining company. Because it's a big company for which regulation, monitoring, evaluation, all those things really apply easily. That area has been well enforced. But the challenge that we have had has been in the small-scale area, where you have myriad of operators in that area, which makes it quite difficult for government to enforce, especially also given the fact that government-owned, oftentimes you have government-owned people being involved in those areas, in the small-scale areas. So let me just say that the large-scale area has largely been enforced. The laws in the large-scale area have largely been enforced. It is largely the small-scale area. Yes.
We also have Honorable Edward Bauer joining us via Zoom. Sir, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Obin, please, as you were.
Yes. So, in the large-scale sector, there have been some success in enforcing the laws. And that is how come all of a sudden, within 120 days or so, the lease of a mining company has been taken, has been revoked. I don't think we have done that with the small-scale miners, the illegal ones who have been operating outside the realm of the law. So that's the challenge we have. If you ask whether we have enforced our laws on mining generally, I would just differentiate between the large and small, and I would say that from regulatory position, large-scale mines have been largely well managed, and it's only because there are few. There are only 16 large-scale mines in the country, 1/6, and out of the 1/6, you may have maybe just about 10 or so operating properly. Like operating like a big scale company. So it's easier for regulators to regulate those big mines that are formalized.
Who is the regulation of the smaller mines, because there are so many?
Yes, if you go back to history until I think 1989 or so, mining by small scalers or by Ghanaians was outlawed. If you're a Ghanaian and you wanted to do mines, you should work with the mining company. You can't go and do your own mine. Even though proud to the arrival of colonial people, the Ghanaians had a way of mining. So before then, even though it was outlawed and the police and the soldiers were chasing them from time to time, there was still small-scale mining going on. There was still illegal mining going on. Until government at that time realized that perhaps it is better to allow Ghanaians to also mine under regulation. And that is how come the small-scale mining law was passed. The Mercury law was also passed to allow for small-scale miners to mine under certain regulations. Little the framers of the law at that time know that small-scale will move from the use of simple implements to the use of excavators and very heavy equipment, and even would have show significant interest in that. In our laws, small-scale mining is a preserve of Ghanaians. In our laws, it is exclusive preserve of Ghanaians. So even if you had a brother and he was a Togolese, he was not allowed to do the mining. But now you see them illegally involved. In our law, we are not allowed to mine in water bodies, not at all. But now you see people mining in water bodies, doing what they call the champagne and all those things on water bodies. You see them, and it's difficult for anyone to control. So come again,
Dr. Obin.
Yes.
Like you said, the minerals in their natural state are for Ghanaians and held in trust by the president. A section of Ghanaians have called for the repeal of the LI 2462. Do you agree with them?
Totally. LI 2462 is a bad law because you see, our forests serve many purposes, and especially around this time when climate change, global warming is a global challenge to all of us. To allow our forests to be mined for gold is going too far, and so I think it was so wrong for government to pass that law. And you see, it is not as if mining have not been done in the reserve forest or forest reserves. 2% of Ghana's reserve forest was earmarked in the previous regime for possible exploration and then mining. And then even before you did go there to explore, you needed to go through some stringent requirements, including get a forest entry permit. The new law allows people to go into the forest reserve without entry permit. And as you can see, just as the law was passed, you saw myriad of applications for being granted for people to mine in the forest. I mean, that's ridiculous, and I think I completely disagree, and I think I support those who are calling for the repeal of that. I think we could go back to the status quo where policies, or you could look at the existing policy just before that law was passed, and maybe you can pass a regulation based on the existing policy. And the new one that has been done is so inimical to our environment and to our own lives.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Dr. Tony Obin is the former CEO of the Minerals Commission. Dr. Edward Bauer.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us, sir. We'll be with you very shortly. As the Ghanaian economy continues to battle high inflation and rising debt, one issue remains a pressing concern: the management and financial losses of our state-owned enterprises. Ghana's state-owned enterprises were once considered pillars of economic growth, but over the years, these entities seem to have shifted from being productive assets to becoming financial liabilities for the state. In 2020, figures from the state's ownership report revealed that state-owned enterprises recorded losses of over 2 billion Ghana cedis, contributing to the strain on the national budget. Now, in a recent development, we are learning from the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, that Electricity Company of Ghana may be on the verge of bankruptcy due to severe financial difficulties. In a letter addressed to the presidency, the energy and finance ministers, and other key stakeholders, PURC's executive secretary, Dr. Ishmael Aka, highlighted the financial crisis that is also impacting the operations of the Volta River Authority, Ghana Grid Company, GridCo, and the Bui Power Authority. Equally, the minority in parliament has claimed that Ghana Cocoa Board is on the verge of collapse due to financial constraints and inefficiencies. You are seeing that so many of these companies that are vital to our living as Ghanaians are facing financial problems. They are buckling under financial constraints, and because of that, our SOEs are suffering. They are setbacks just isolated to one or two enterprises. and is a worrying trend across all the sectors. Because if our utilities like electricity, water, transport, infrastructure are going through the same problem of mismanagement, inefficiency, and mounting debt, it means that Ghana is suffering. You know that the Auditors General's report highlighted that close to 70% of these enterprises have failed to generate profits in the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, they close to 70% have not generated any profit. Otumfuo Assetutu had something to say about our state-owned enterprises. We need to hear about that. Stay tuned.
I agree with you that government should be looking at policies instead of being involved in industry and everything. It doesn't work. And it's about time Ghana realizes that it's not going to work for government to be involved in setting up companies and all those things. It doesn't work. Government should be contained with policies, and then private sector should be involved in setting up industries and everything. It works that way, and therefore you can attract more investments to come to the country, and it creates more employment. VRA and others are all government establishment. Let's give it out and divest to public sector, private sector, and then we inject money in there. And get the right people to do it. Greatco and others are all for private sector. Let's give them the money, get the qualified people, divest government from it, and let them do it. Other than that, electricity company is in a situation where we don't know, but that also must be divested and give it to private sector. Why are we still holding it when we don't have the money? We are not even able to collect all the taxes that we want. We are going to IMF for money and all those things. We are hanging on to industries that we cannot maintain and run. Look, it's about time we face realities and then decided on what government should be doing and what private sector should be doing. This is a testimony of private sector investment. And they were able to attract Oppenheimer. His family has all the money in South Africa. They were able to attract him to come here because he believed in private sector. And they've done it in various countries in Africa. So that is how we have to be looking at it, to attract more of these investments into the private sector, so we can do it. My son here, when he was saying that those small generators and all those things given to Bui and all those things, go and review the policy and let the government know how to go about it. I agree with you that government should be looking at policies instead of being involved.
Well, we've heard Otumfuo. Otumfuo says that privatization is most important because our companies continue to buckle under the burden. The question is, how long can the states continue to boost these enterprises? How long can the states continue to prop up these enterprises before they buckle under the financial burden, before the burden becomes too great for us to carry? ECG, VRA, ECG, Greatco, Bui are all buckling under this issue. And if the Auditors General report is anything to go by, it means that we are suffering as a country, because if for the last 3 years, 70% of state-owned enterprises were not making any profits, they were rather making losses, it means that we are suffering as a nation and something should be done. We should be looking at other avenues for which we can pay attention to these state-owned enterprises and for them to be profitable, so that we can look at the unemployment in the country. Because if they are profitable and they are employing more people, the unemployment rate will reduce, the unemployment rate will go down, and will not suffer for some of the issues that we are suffering. Government continues day in and day out to pump money into these enterprises in the bid for them to be able to stand on their own feet. Edward Bauer is the Member of Parliament for the Bongo constituency, and he is on the Mines and Energy Committee. Good morning, sir. Thank you for your patience, sir.
Thank you for having me, and good morning.
So what factors drive the challenges that our state-owned enterprises in the energy sector face in maintaining operational and financial efficiency?
Basically, it's just a question that, one, we have a very bad management system when it comes to our utilities, the state-owned utilities. And most importantly, we also are not investing in the necessary equipment. And I'll explain to you why. So if you look at the power sector has three functional zones. It has the generation part that is made up of the state-owned generators like VRA and BUI. Then it has the independent power producers, that's the private sector. So they form the generation portion of the three functional zones. Then we have a transmission sector, which is the second functional zone that is managed by GRIDCO. So GRIDCO is in charge of the interconnected transmission systems of the country. And then we have the distributors that is made up of 3 different companies. That's the Electricity Company of Ghana, which is the largest. Then we have the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, that's NEDCO, which is in charge of the operational area of the 5 regions in the north, some parts of Volta region, or now they call it OT, and then part of Ashanti and some areas in Brunei region. Then, so that's the NEDCO. Then we have what we call the enclave power. The enclave power is made up of it's just basically they produce power to the Free Zones Board. So basically, these are the 3 different distribution companies. So they are the functional zones. Now, if you look at the functional zones of Ghana, the power sector, the weakest link for us is the distribution, and in particular with ECG, because that's the point of discussion today. Now, ECG is unable to account for its power. For example, as we're speaking now, as far as we know, they have a loss that is made up of in the upwards of about 30 points, let's say 31%. Now, what it simply literally means is that if you give them 100 Ghana cedis worth of power, they can only account for, say, 69 Ghana cedis. That's how much they can account for. They lose about 31 Ghana cedis. Now, because of this, and usually if the generators, that's either the VRAs, the BUIs, or the independent power producers, when they generate the power, and then it's transmitted by GRIDCO to, for example, ECG. ECG first will have to sell to you and I, and all companies and households, collect the money, and then pay them. So pay the transmitters for transmitting the power, and pay the generators for generating the power. Unfortunately, ECG is not able to do that because, one, they have huge losses. But the other part of it is that because we also agreed that we were supposed, because ECG could not even account for the power, so even the small that you have, sold, the arrangement was made under what they call the cash waterfall mechanism, where they say, look, okay, even the 71 Ghana cedis that, or this 69 Ghana cedis that you have sold and got, put it in a common pot, and let's distribute it. So because people generated power, let's pay those people small. Let's pay the transmission people small. Let's even pay the fuel like Ghana Gas. Let's pay them small. Let's pay WAPCO that transmitted the power, the gas from Western region to Greater Accra. Let's pay all them small. Let's pay all those people small. And then you take part of it. Unfortunately, this cash waterfall mechanism is not operational for various reasons that is best known to the government. And so, over the period, they are unable to pay these players on the value chain. What is even more serious is that in this cash waterfall mechanism, they have 2 different tiers or 2 different categories. They have their tier A, or maybe the category A, which is made up of the independent power producers, and WAPCO, who transmits the gas from Western region to the Northern region. They are category A. What does that mean? It means that they will have to be paid first before they pay the state-owned enterprises. So, and the amount of money they're supposed to pay, for example, the independent power producers, they tell them that, look, even the amount of power we have bought from you and you invoice us, we're not able to pay all. So they have come into an agreement with the independent power producers saying that, look, even though collectively the amount of money we are supposed to collect from you every month is more than $47 million a month, just pay us $47 million, and the rest of the money, restructure it over a period of time in the future, then you can pay when things get better. Then WAPCO too, you have to pay them. So they pay these people this amount, the 47 million plus WAPCO. Then the rest of the money that is left, they used to pay the category P, that's the VRAs and the BUIs and the GRIDCOs. Unfortunately, from what the PURC is telling us, if they look at, for example, $800 million Ghana cedis that they received in June, and around 800 something in July. In July. If you look at these 2 things, let's take the June one, 800 million. if they are supposed to pay $47 million for the independent power producers, that gives you, today's exchange rate is about 752 million Ghana cedis. So if they take the 752 million Ghana cedis and pay it's left with just roughly around 48 million Ghana cedis. They cannot even pay for the transmission of the gas. That's one thing. So it means that they can't even take care of the category A players, not to talk of the category B. Now the category B, which is now creating the serious problems to the extent that BUI and then, what's the name, Gridco and other things have to even go to the banks and do an overdraft to pay their workers. It's because even the amount that they will use in the category B, usually it's not going to be enough because after they have paid the category A because of the losses they have. Then what they need to do is that government has, the arrangement is the government will also have to, on a monthly basis, make available around 200 to 300 million Ghana cedis to add to the reserve, the remainder of the category A to pay the, the state-owned enterprises. Unfortunately, one, the category A, after paying the category A people, which is not even enough, there's no money to add to even the category B. Two, government also not pay. So you now have a situation where for a number of months now, people are generating power. They are paying workers. They are paying for fuel. They are paying for maintenance. And meanwhile, not even a city is being paid for them when they sell the power. They don't pay them. And so that is the situation they find themselves now in. That if you look at the current situation, the total amount of monthly basis that they are supposed to pay ECG, they can only raise roughly around 42% of the total bill that they have. And even with this 42%, they are unable to even commit to paying them. So that is why the SOEs, that is the state-owned enterprises within the energy sector, i.e. BUI, VRA, Gridco, are all suffering. And as we speak now, VRA is the only one that is managing. And the reason why they are able to manage is because apart from ECG, they also to export power to Burkina Faso, to Mali, and then to Benin, Togo, and then Cote d'Ivoire. So they get some foreign exchange. So that's what they are able to use to just stay afloat. But if you take the other companies, they simply do not have. For example, BUI does not get money from anywhere because it's only ECG that is the off-taker. And ECG is not paying them. So that's the situation they find themselves in.
So what would be the ideal solution in resolving some of the issues that you have raised?
So first and foremost, the government of Ghana, under the NDC, said that, look, we needed to look at one of the major issues with the ECG and why they can account for the power is because they have obsolete equipment. That's the one aspect. And the second aspect is that they have human resource base that is not fit for purpose, particularly at the managerial level. So let's look at the technical aspect. In the technical aspect, the government of Ghana, through the Compact 2, that's a Millennium Challenge Corporation, came to an agreement with the government of the United States of America to give us free money to change our equipment within the ECG infrastructure setup, such that would have helped in improving their efficiency. Now, they were supposed to do that, and then two, now invite a private sector, and that's one of the recommendations the PRC is giving, the private sector. So they needed to leverage the private sector capital and private sector expertise in helping in reducing the losses. And therefore, money will be made available for all the players within the sector. You and I know that because of corruption, because of self-gain, because of because of the fact that they don't give a hoot about who is suffering, corruption made United States through the PDS issue that money was supposed to get free of charge to help ECG perform well. That money was withdrawn by the United States of America. Now, government has to find the money to improve on the efficiency of ECG. That is why, for example, PRC is saying that, one, either list ECG on the stock exchange. We've done that before with GOIL. GOIL used to be it was totally a state-owned enterprise. Now, government decided to clean the books of ECG, GOIL, and they listed them on the stock exchange. So now, as we speak, about 40-something% is owned by the private sector and about 50-something is owned by government. Because of that, good governance processes are followed. good and transparent manners are done, the stakeholders ensure that there's investment in the area. And so GOIL is doing well. If you come to ECG, government, which is the sole shareholder of ECG and is a company, must make a very brutal decision. Now look, do we find a way of leveraging on private sector expertise and capital? How do we do it? Do we do it by selling shares through the stock exchange in a very transparent manner? Or do we say that, okay, all the amount that this ECG is owing, we will take it as government debt, and then we will increase our equity stake in ECG, and then clean up the books of ECG, and then the money that ECG should have been using in paying all this fines, government will take it, and ECG will use that money to invest on the equipment and replace the obsolete equipment. These are some of the recommendations that.
But do you think government has the capacity to take on all of those debts at the moment?
If they have no capacity, to get off the office and let other people do it. That's the reason why you are voted into power. You are voted into power to solve problems. If you don't have capacity, what business do you have staying in that office? What business that the Kufuor have every day getting up morning to go to Flagstaff House? In fact, that man has outlived his usefulness. He needs to just walk out because the country is just collapsing everywhere, anywhere you turn. And in your intro, I heard you, Cocoa Board collapsed. The Cocoa Board used to be a place where on annual basis we're guaranteed at least $2 billion from syndication of cocoa into the country. We had this to stabilize our currency. Now we cannot do that under this current government. You have a situation where all the state agencies are collapsing. Go to SIGA and look at the reports. They are collapsing. Look at ECG alone. At 2016, when ECG was posting profit, now as at 2022, their financials, they made a loss of 10 billion Ghana cedis. 10 billion of losses. That is the type of the country that we are in. Every part of the country is in a mess. So to ask me whether they have the capacity to do that, I don't know what answer to give. But they have no business staying in that office there.
Per your presentation, per your analysis, do you believe or do you support the call for the privatization of these state-owned enterprises?
No, you see, let's always not run away to talk about just privatization for the sake of privatization. Look, we under what we call the power sector reforms that was supported by the World Bank. We gradually tried introducing private sector into the situation. So one, we introduced in the upstream sector, that's when I use the asset, I'm talking the generation side. We said in addition to VRA and BUI, the private sector could also come into supply power, and that's how we have the independent power producers. We are saying that in the distribution end, we can have private sector also taking part. What we can do is to unbundle ECG and let private sector take part. But see, we cannot hand over all state enterprises to private sector. That is a national security challenge. Let me tell you why. Assuming that we didn't have VRA, assuming that we didn't have BUI, which are state-owned enterprises, and today the private people who have brought their money to put up the independent power producers, the generators they have like the Asoglis, the Aska, the Car Power, they decided they're not going to generate power because they think that they have a problem with the state, so they don't generate power. Do you know where are you going to get power from? Because they are private people, they can decide that we won't generate power. And you have nothing to it. It is within their right to say they will generate. So as a matter of national security, you must have the state being able to have the capacity to also generate power. I don't know whether I'm making sense. Say that when they hold the state to ransom, you can do that. And besides that, you diversify your energy sources, both private sector and the public sector. So it is about making the public sector efficient. And if the efficient is to leverage on some of the private sector capital and private sector expertise, we can do that. But we cannot, for the sake of my own, for the sake of just privatization, we get up and say we just give all state entities under the power sector to the private sector. Nobody does that. Even in the US, nobody does that. And so I think that, yes, we need to invite the private sector to come in with capital because the state alone cannot do it. Yes, we need to leverage on their expertise because the state may not necessarily have all the expertise. That being said, it is also important that government takes it as a sole and a sacred responsibility to ensure that they inject efficiency. And that is why in the NDC manifesto, we have indicated as part of our policy proposals that, look, we will realign and restructure both the operative and regulatory agencies under the energy sector to ensure transparency, accountability, and efficiency where necessary. And so it is part of our plan under the future John Mahama government to do that. And ECG definitely will be one of the institutions who will be taking a critical look at.
Some experts have suggested that we should depoliticize some of the state-owned enterprises, especially as we have politicized appointments in this country. So because of this, the president or any head of state is unable to crack the whip on leadership when they falter or when they are running their enterprises down. Do you agree on this?
Who has support politics? It's not Akufo-Addo. You see, the challenge I have with you people, the media and the so-called civil society organization, you will see where the problem is and you start going around it. Look, the normal procedure is this. The normal procedure is that, of course, remember that the government of Ghana is a shareholder, for example, of ECG, the single shareholder. And it means that everybody who acts in ECG acts using the executive power of the president who has been elected by the people of Ghana. Now, the procedure is that normally the president appoints what he calls the board. The board then appoints the chief executive and give the chief executive KPIs, that's key performance indicators, that you need to meet XYZ as part of your contractual agreement with the board. And then you are then given that, and the chief executive then leads the management to be able to run that particular organization. If the chief executive is not meeting those particular KPIs, it is incumbent on the board to fire the chief executive based on the recommendations of the president. As we speak now, that is not done. The people they pack into the boards there are people who do not even have the expertise to understand how corporate governance is being done. There are people who do not have the slightest of ideas as to how, the energy sector operates. You have people who cannot distinguish between a fluorescent tube and a normal bulb that we have in our rooms. People do not know even what LED bulbs are. And these are people who are sitting on the board of ECG, taking decisions and policy directions for the management to act on. That is where the problem is. So you remember that I indicated to you that it is a question of both technical and the human. The human aspect is because Nana Addo has decided to bastardize almost every aspect of our lives, from the judiciary to the executive. In fact, he's attempting to do that in parliament. So the man has destroyed the very fiber on which Ghana survives. He's the greatest nightmare we found ourselves in. And so when people say that, oh, we should depoliticize this, just go straight and call the spade a spade. We all know where the problem is. We all do know. Look, let me ask you a question. Look, under what circumstance could you had a situation where Ghana Gas, you have appointed a board, you have appointed a chief executive, then the head of communication, that is supposed to be somebody who is supposed to be answerable to the chief executive, is appointed by Flagstaff House. So how does the chief executive control the head of communication when he does something wrong? Because his appointment letter comes from the same place where the chief executive's appointment letter is coming from. This is the level to which Akufo-Addo has bastardized our institutions. That even sometimes you have clerical assistants who are appointed on the basis of what type of card they hold, whether it is an NDC, CPP, or an MPP card. That is how bad it has become. And so let's be bold enough to do that. If we are not bold enough and we are going around these issues, my sister, two of us are suffering together. In the evening, you go to your house, meet your house, go to my house. As to whether we boil stones for our children to eat, or we just boil water, give them hot water, put salt inside. It is we and our God. If we don't speak the truth, our people always have a proverb that says that if your mother is dead and you say he's not dead, in the evening when everybody's mother is cooking for him or her, and your mother cannot cook because he's dead, it be you and your mother. So if people are not bold enough to call the spade and say, oh, people are saying that we should depoliticize. Who has politicized it? It is Akufo-Addo. So let's deal with it. Let's call the spade and deal with that. And that is where the problem is.
Mr. Bauer, the ECG is on a loss reduction program where they are installing smart meters to improve energy accounting. The current strategy adopted by the ECG, is it something that a future NDC government would look at continuing?
But in the first place, the issue of, look, let me tell you, my sister, the NDC government in 2016 imported $80 million worth of smart meters into the country to replace obsolete meters in this country under a bogus so-called investigation. My sister, 7 to 8 years now. The container is seated in Tema with the meter, the smart meters there. 80 million Ghana cedis. My sister, just calculate the CD equivalent. 80 million Ghana cedis. That's over almost 2 billion. Almost 2 billion Ghana cedis. It is seated there under the, and it's wasting. That's taxpayers' money. And government of Ghana has paid for it. So in terms of introducing smart meters, it's the way to go. But because of the fact that they also want to do procurement, they will leave what has been imported and is wasting at the port for 8 years. And they go to, again, buy other set of smart meters. How do you expect ECG to now have money to pay the players in the upstream sector? That's why the sector is bankrupt. So, my sister, yes, we will do such a thing because we already started it. But the truth of the matter is that this government, everything is about procurement. Everything is about what is my share in it. And everybody wants to make money. As I speak to you now, if you go to all the agencies, everybody is not doing, a scramble. You've done history before, a bit of history before in primary school, say secondary school. What is the scramble for Africa? This is not scramble for Ghana's resources. Last minute, 79 days more to elections. So is it 80 days to elections? Everybody's scrambling. Everybody's doing procurement. And of course, that will include even the smart meters. They may even just go, you'll be surprised that just on the last day before they leave office, they'll go and do some humongous type of procurement that you'll be shocked. So yes, we support the whole idea of introducing smart meter because then that will bring about a better power accounting. And so it's something that is good. But we had called earlier on that put boundary meters in various operational areas. So for example, if my area, Ajirangano and its environs, that you have a manager for that area, and then you put a boundary meter, you know the amount of power you brought to Ajirangano and its area. Now, at the end of the month, I expect the manager of that area to account for the power that was sold around the Ajirangano and its area using smart meters. And again, putting boundary meters. And we had said this, and it was part of our strategy.
Honorable Bauer.
Yes.
Customers have complained that they are facing some challenges with these smart meters because they are paying more than they used to pay. Is this an issue that the committee would be inviting the MD of the Electricity Company of Ghana to come and answer on in Parliament?
Why do you want parliamentarians to be involved in this? Look, the issue of smart meters tells you that any small gadget you use, it will record it. That's what smart meters are for. So maybe you may have the old meters where when you go and you are charging your earpiece, it may not record it. Meanwhile, you are consuming power. What the ECG needed to have done was to do stakeholder consultation, and particularly the consumers whose meters were going to be changed, to explain to them, look, your current meters that you are using, it doesn't actually record all the power you use. Meanwhile, we need to be able to get all the power you use. You pay for it, and we'll serve you better by ensuring that there's always continuous supply and reliable supply of power. You need to let the people understand that. But you don't let the people understand. The person sitting inside, the next day he sees that you come and change his meter. And suddenly, if he was paying 10 cedis a month, he's not paying 12 cedis in a month. Meanwhile, it's the same amount of power he's been consuming. He will say that you are cheating him. So part of the problem of the ECG's implementation or the role or the deployment of this smart meter was that they did not consult the consumers who are the primary stakeholders in this area. And so you will have that disconnect. This is not the duty of the parliament to come and make it. It is a negligence of the executive through ECG and for that matter the Ministry of Energy in consulting the consumers who are actually the reasons for which ECG exists anyway. And so they should have been consulted and they didn't do that. It is because they jumped they jump ahead and started implementing, and they couldn't be bothered about the key stakeholder, which was the consumer or their clients. And so that's what they should be doing. It's not about Parliament getting them to, what is Parliament going to tell them?
Edward Bauer is the NP for Bongo, and he serves on the Mines and Energy Committee in Parliament. He's given us his opinion on the issue of state-owned enterprises running losses and letting the financial sector backhold under the pressure of the losses that they keep running. We'll be looking at this topic again and again to see how better state-owned enterprises can work and make profits. We'll be back. Stay with us. We'll be back with Politics Today.
Inventor Ghana Season 3 is here. ScanBrain Limited, organizers of the Best Inventor Ghana, has opened registration for the third season of this innovative show. Who can enter? Manufacturers of innovative solutions for daily use. Winner goes home with 5,000 Ghana cedis. First runner-up with 3,000 Ghana cedis. And second runner-up with 2,000 Ghana cedis. The show will be broadcast on ABC News Ghana Television. Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 begins on the 21st of September 2024 at the Assembly Hall of the St. John's Grammar School. Registration is open to everyone. Call us now on 054-955-4148 to register. Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 is here. ScanBrain Limited, organizers of the Best Inventor Ghana, has opened registration for the third season of this innovative show. Who can enter? Manufacturers of innovative solutions for daily use. Winner goes home with 5,000 Ghana cedis. First runner-up with 3,000 Ghana cedis. And second runner-up with 2,000 Ghana cedis. The show will be broadcast on ABC News Ghana Television. Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 begins on the 21st of September 2024 at the Assembly Hall of the St. John's Grammar School. Registration is open to everyone. Call us now on 054-955-4148 to register.
Staying with us. You're still watching ABC in the morning. For Politics Today, we are looking at the politics of controversial communication. In a season like this, so many words, so many sentences, so many speeches, and the controversies that they generate are top of the news all the time, because controversial communication has become a strategy, for want of a better word, to gain the attention of some people. So we are looking at the politics of controversial communication to see whether it is an effective measure or not. Going straight into our conversation, we have Dr. Samuel Afriyie, who is a political scientist at the Kumasi Technical University, who will be joining us shortly. Stay with us. Interacting with us on our WhatsApp 0509930360, 0509930360. Get interactive with us there, send your messages, and we will read it on Politics Today. Also interact with us on our social media at ABC News GH _ all over social media, and we will also get interactive with you. We're looking at the politics of controversial communication. Before we get into the conversation, take a listen.
NDC for birthday watching. I saturated Kwan Obugu National Health Insurance. On the computation by and the work as a may catch them over a saturated. Now to Obama NDC, we are Mamofo. Yes, sir, Brajuma, on tea, Ethiopia. Yes, sir, Becania, on tea, Ethiopia. I say, and Namuno, and Diano, we're digging in area. I can't Cassel's wedding, what 15. What can I say, man? You bet you are Ghana, Kumasia. Or say, you can't go to Brian to join your day. Why are now NDC for birthday watching. I saturated Kwan Obugu National Health Insurance. On the computation by and the work as a may catch them over a saturated. Now to Obama NDC, we are Mamofo. Yes, sir, Brajuma, on tea, Ethiopia. Yes, sir, Becania, on tea, Ethiopia. I say, and Namuno, and Diano, we're digging in area. I can't Cassel's wedding, what 15. What can I say, man? You bet you are Ghana, Kumasia. Or say, you can't go to Brian to join your day. Why are now NDC for birthday watching. I saturated Kwan Obugu National Health Insurance. On the computation by and the work as a may catch them over a saturated. Now to Obama NDC, we are Mamofo. Yes, sir, Brajuma, on tea, Ethiopia. Yes, sir, Becania, on tea.
Dr. Samuel Afriyie is a political scientist at the Kumasi Technical University to do this conversation of politics of controversial communication. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Dr. Afriyie. Hello, Dr. Afriyie.
Good morning. Hello, I can hear you. Good morning.
Okay. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir.
My pleasure, and greetings to your cherished viewers as well.
So over the past month and even into the year, we see that it's gradually becoming more rampant, the controversial statements that politicians do to get media attention and also the attention of their opponents. Is it a strategy? Is this strategy a strategy that works?
Yeah, thank you once again. You know, in political marketing or political communication, one thing that you need to do is that you need to build consistency in your political communication. You need to ensure that you are credible, that is credibility is assured of communication, and also coherency, right? You tend to ensure that you don't deviate from what you intend to achieve. So when it comes to a situation where there's a controversy, you see, controversial communication stems from the issue of controversial issues. So when there are issues that people are not clear and you come on to talk about, then you tend to become controversial. So issues that are controversial, the moment you step in, tend to become a controversial. And in politics, some of these things are strategies. Some intentionally do that. Others also may tend to goof on the other side. So it's two-way, where you intentionally tend to become controversial. At the same time, you communicate and unaware, you become controversial. That is how these controversial issues comes in our political communication. And it is one of the things that in this current dispensation of our communication, political communication, is trying to come up, where we've seen some politicians making controversial issues on communication. Some of them is intentional, others are not intentional. And the real thing is that when it's unintentional and you goof, the way to handle it tends to become a different thing altogether. Some benefit out of it, even unaware. Some people can benefit out of it. Can also be a positive sign. But most of the goof ones tends not to be, at least tend to be negative on the side of the political communicators. So controversial issues is a political strategy, but it depends on how you use it or how you tend to make it. If it's intentional, it mostly works a lot. But if it's not intentional, you tend to create more problems in your communication strategy.
Sophia, one person who has been at the heart of this issue of controversial communication is the running mate for the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. Will you say that this strategy has worked for him? And if the party has worked for him and the party, or would you say that it has caused more disaffection towards him with the Ghanaian people?
Thank you once again. You know, I've monitored, should I call the name Apu? Yes, that is the Dr. Matthew Prempeh, who's currently an MP for Menchia South. When he was being unveiled, I was there personally, and I listened to him. And you know, for him, I would say that he has been controversial, not an intentional perspective. He has been one of the unintentional form of controversial issues, meaning that when you listen to him on political stages, you can determine that mostly I've been monitoring him for a while. You can realize that if he is speaking and not well structured or not well organized, you tend to see that he tends to bring out a lot of controversial issues. And that is what I say about the vice presidential candidate for the NPP. And I think that is something that we need to look at, so that he tend to correct some of these issues. If not, it might turn negative for him as a person and also for the party as well. So for him, he is not, should I say better, he is not into the intentional controversial issues, but he is based on how he communicates, and unintentionally some of these issues comes in. That is what I'm saying about him, and you need to work on that seriously.
Also, while you say that his is an unintentional form, others do not agree with that. They say that it is an intentional strategy meant to take some of the heat away from Dr. Bawumia ahead of the elections, so that people will pay more attention to Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, heap all the heat on him, whilst Dr. Bawumia remains a poster boy ahead of the elections.
Yeah, my dear, when you look at, you see, it depends on the personality, right? As we monitored him, as we are monitoring him from the time that he was available, you see, when he was a minister, he tried sometimes one or two issues. But the moment he became the vice presidential candidate, you see, and he turned on to campaigning, on campaigning, and mostly these campaigns, you don't tend to be having a more formal or intentional communication. It is based on your target audience of people. So mostly you tend to speak for them so that the environment will be energized. And that is what I've seen. And for him, I think that he is into those kind of unintentional, controversial issues. Maybe sometimes the communicators need to come in to ensure that these things are being watered down on some of the issues. So for me, I don't think that is an intentional strategy to sway away from the presidential candidate Dr. Bawumia to him. I think that for him personally, he is on that side of unintentional controversial issues. That is okay. I don't think that, because most of the things, I think he could have just toned down or just avoid those issues that he talks about.
So in 2016, controversial communication worked for Donald Trump in the USA. Will you say that because it worked for him there, politicians are also looking at leveraging on such communication strategy so that it will work for them here too in Ghana?
You know, political environment is also a critical factor that we need, and political maturity. When it comes to controversial communication, it's based on how matured of these the political environment is sometimes. Because for the advanced countries, you know that the American has practiced controversy, that is their democracy, for a while, more than I think 200 years or so. So for them, the maturity level of the democracy is high, and also voters tend to be more level-headed in terms of knowledge. So they can easily tend to look at some of these controversial issues and make their own decisions. But for ours, we are gradually coming on. And I think we have tried for a while, more than 30, I think the 1992 Constitution, we practiced more than 30 years. So, and also if you look back for other times of elections or democracy, we see that we are trying. But for us, controversial issues, you need to avoid them mostly because of our maturity level, because of how we assimilate information. If not, people can tend to twist it for political gain. So for ours, we can be controversial, but you need to be very careful so that you don't tend to create more problems for yourself because of our political environment in terms of knowledge, in terms of information gap in these two democracies. So for us, we might not be the same as the environment of the American political environment for us to know the level of knowledge and information that we can use to discern for them to know which one is good or which one is not good.
Dr. Free, barely 80 days to the 2024 general elections. What are some of the things that you would advise the political parties to rather impress on in their communication?
You know, for the few months ahead, about 80 or less than 80 days ahead of us, I think that the political environment heated because everybody throwing jabs here and there. But I believe that the issue that need to be looked at is our education, the key pillars of our economy, and also our health, and also other social issues like these mining, or that is the Galamsey issues, can also be one of the issues, how to address it, and also to look at employment. And these are the key things that we will need to know how these political actors will try to solve for all of us. The issue of where businesses strive to solve some of these unemployment. I think that we should avoid these personality attacks where we can insult people, tend to denigrate others in terms of trying to convey. We should basically dwell on ideas about how to solve our issues in this country. And the items that, because when the MPP was launching their manifesto, they gave us 3 key or 5 key challenges. They talked about taxation, businesses. They talk about unemployment. They talk about roads. They talk about other things that I cannot discuss. But basically, all the parties involved, especially the NDC and the MP, dwell on the same challenges that they are. And that is what we are expecting them to communicate this to the level that all of us, not only to the educated elite, but to the level of non-people who are on the ground, people who are in the market, people who are in the various locations, how they can understand ways of trying to solve our issues. Because 8 years, which policy will solve our current issue, our current issues of unemployment, our current issues of taxation, our current issues of roads? What are these policies trying to? And we should avoid this person is this or that. We should avoid religious issues. We should avoid tribal issues. We should also avoid issues concerning insult of individuals in our political space, so that we will. And also, lastly, to add up is the Electoral Commission. That Electoral Commission should also play its part well, so that we can have a free and fair election. Because I know that Electoral Commission will be attacked in the sense that confronted with issues on the voter register as the NDC has started. It will continue. So they need to know how to address some of these challenges critically. And the people that are involved to address them should also be looked at, so that we can have the Electoral Commission will have a good register for all of us. The political actors will also try to ensure that they all get on board about issues of solving our country's challenges rather than personal attacks and having religious insinuations.
Finally, before you go, on the same issue of controversial communication from both sides of the divide, we've had members of the party, political actors, say certain things that can raise tensions in the country and still say that they stand by those things. What is it going to do to the psychology of the people to be exposed to these comments each day, day in, day out?
Yeah, these things are bound to come. It's the politicians that it's a strategy to create tension. And tension, if they realize that they will benefit from it, then they tend to use it. So some try to do that, create tensions, fear, all because it might benefit them, all because they have a desired intention. So for them, the politicians, they will tend to create it. It is part of democracy and also some politicking. That is what they do. So all of them, some people will sit down, especially from the opposition side, try to ensure that tensions are created for them to get the space for what they want. For example, I believe that the demonstration that the NDC did some few days ago was something that just to determine their strength. Is one of the reasons, to determine how powerful they are in terms of organization, to determine how to send a message that they are there. And these are strategies that these politicians try to undertake for us, so that they can try to achieve their certain objective. So, my dear, it can't be avoided, but we, the citizens or the voters, need to calm down is for them. Politicians, that is how they work. Once they think that it's beneficial to them in terms of, because some people also try to avoid fear. They can also vote for certain kind of party. Oh, we must disturbances. These are some of the comments that some people might be making. And, as I said earlier, it is due to strategies that they put in place if it will benefit them. Not thinking it's the consequences out there. But once they think that it benefits, they will go in for it to create tensions and fear in the environment.
Thank you for speaking to us this morning, sir.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Dr. Samuel Afriyie is a political scientist at the Kumasi Technical University. Happy Hour is up next. On Happy Hour, you get to send your birthday wishes, your goodwill messages to your friends and your loved ones. That's why I said earlier that you should get in touch with us on our social media handles and also send us your messages via WhatsApp 050-9930-360, 050-9930-360. Let's take some wishes. Nanayal sends a happy birthday to W.A. Adolfo Danso. And Nanayal's message is, I hope your day is overflowing with joy, love, and all your favorite things. May this year bring you exciting opportunities, cherished memories, and everything your heart desires. Here's to celebrating you and all the wonderful moments yet to come. Have an incredible birthday. So happy birthday to you, W.A. Adolfo Danso. It's coming from Nanayal. From Priscilla Jemfua, she says a happy birthday to Abel. And her message is, I hope your day is filled with joy, laughter, and all your favorite things. Cheers to you and another year of fabulous adventures. Enjoy every moment. From all of us here at ABC, we say happy birthday to you, Abel. We join Priscilla Jemfua to send you a happy birthday. And to Yao Boabing, Desmond Boabing says, here's to another year of amazing adventures, laughter, and unforgettable memories. Cheers to you and all the wonderful things ahead. Enjoy your special day. Yao Boabing, a happy birthday to you. These are the birthday messages we received on Happy Hour today. Send your birthday wishes, your goodwill wishes, and the messages you have for your friends and loved ones to our WhatsApp number 050-9930-360. You can also share your comments as the show goes on each day, and we will read to you. Ultimately, our social media handles are there for you to interact with us on at abcnewsgh.com. That is it for Happy Hour. We'll be back. An executive interview is up next. staying with us. We have executive interview for you. And on an executive interview, this is the opportunity for you to speak about your words, to speak about your company. Tell us what you're doing in the world of business and beyond. Then we will be glad to host you on it. Yesterday, the Telecel Women in Business webinar series happened. We'll be bringing you an interview or a short clip from the webinar. Executive interview is up next.
And comes to reality.
And they are advising us to learn to pay ourselves and go on breaks, like go for vacations and stuff.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Awesome. So are there any last words you'd like to share with us? To, let's say, a young entrepreneur who is looking up to you, maybe a lady who has finished her service, who has decided that she doesn't want to work with anyone, she wants to start something. What do you want to tell her?
Yeah, I would first of all like to tell the person to believe in themselves and know that whichever career path that they decide to take, first of all, God is with them, and at the same time, they must be intentional about planning. They should start small, because when you start small, that is, and you keep. You know, the nature of the business keeps demanding for you to expand. That is when you know that your business is actually growing. Don't go for a big capital and come and start, boom, and then by a couple of years you start going down. You can only see your growth when you see your need for more staff, for more equipment, for more, you know, resources, so to speak. So just believe in yourself and be very, very, very intentional about educating yourself around the business niche that you are carving for yourself. If you want to go into delay mackerel, know that you want to give the best mackerel ever. So where the mackerel is being
best
canned,
taste on the market today.
Yes, and where it is, no, we are asking for value for money.
Exactly, and we are giving them just that.
And it must be healthy.
Very healthy.
Yes.
Under so highly, hygienic conditions.
Exactly.
Our bread to the best.
So you learn around all those things to perfect your business. And as you go, don't ever give up on learning. Keep learning. Keep learning. Keep going to courses. Keep educating yourself around your business. For me, that is what I would say.
A question came in. I already asked that question. The bit about someone looking for a job opportunity or national service opening. We asked that, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Good. So I think we've exhausted everything. And there are some comments coming in. Someone asked if, in terms of succession planning, if your children are not interested in your business, what would you do? That's a very difficult one. So it means like when you are gone, that is it, right?
No, at all. No.
So some people will take your business.
Oh, well, if you see, if there are people within your establishment who have so showed dedication to it, you can groom those people.
So they will take over their business.
And then also there's something like floating shares or that kind of thing. So you can get other people. So it's like a conglomerate of people who are now running and owning the business. And so different thought processes come into it, and they help drive the business upwards. So you shouldn't just give up on that. Yes. For all you know, the children will derive dividends from these people's hard work.
Yeah. Holalom says this is the best conversation I've listened to today. Thank you, Delay, the ladies and Telecel, and Comfort Banduma. I'm loving this. You ladies are inspiring. And yeah, basically. Please, your final words.
So my final words for any young entrepreneur or woman or even men out there is, yeah, exactly, start small, start from where you are. Many times, yes, we feel like we need to do everything very big. Always make sure that you validate that product before it hits the market. In technology age, we have people building products that, of course, they go in the market and it doesn't sell. So make sure that your product is selling. You validate it before it hits the market. Also, I'll say find the right team and the mentors and the advisors that would really push you. Your sponsors that would really help you to where you need to go to. Many times I know myself that initially when I first started as an entrepreneur, I wanted to do everything myself, but impossible. No. So you need to have the right people, the right team, people that will push you, people that will give you the right advice. I'm constantly running my thoughts, running my ideas to my mentor, who would come back with me with new ideas and new ways that I would run my business. Take that on, have that tribe that would help you move to the next level, because that's what I think has helped me on my journey.
Okay, and does anyone want to add anything?
No.
You are done? Yes. Okay, and see, for me, dear, all I'll say is that I met this man, Mr. Martin Broby, who was the founder of Yas. He was a sponsor of the Delay Show. I started going to the market with him to do activations and stuff. And that was when I had the idea that I'm always following this man to help him sell. I should also have my own product so that I'll sell for myself. So that was my light bulb moment. I had that epiphany at that. So there's always an opportunity out there. You should always open your eyes. You will never know when you have that awakening. And once it comes, it shouldn't just be a dream. You should follow through and make sure that it comes to life. And nobody said it was going to be easy. There are nights when you cry. They know.
Oh yeah.
They are smiling, but they won't tell you. You will cry. There are days when you will be asking yourself, why am I doing this? Who is forcing me? I'm tired. Maybe I should just stop and then find somewhere and sit and just, go on a holiday, go to Rome and bask on a rock like a lizard or something. We have that moment. But then again, it takes me back to what Ya said. You remember the why. You ask yourself, why did I start all of this? And then you need the support at a point. That is where Telecel Women in Business comes in. You go to Telecel Business Online and then you go and register, and we're here to support you. We're here to empower you. We're here to help you grow. Remember that we are connecting our energy to yours. Telecel, connecting energies. Thanks for watching us.
That was the Telecel Women in Business webinar series. This month's topic was on the empire she built. This brings us to the end of our executive interview. For joining us today on ABC in the morning. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today. We did our front stories, looked at trends, our main stories, business fix, and politics today, including happy hour and executive interview. Like I said earlier, connect with us on social media at ABC News GH _ and also connect with us on our WhatsApp 0509930 ABC News GH is very credible for the information you need, for the news you need. So visit our website www.abcnewsgh.com and interact with us. Thank you for joining us this morning. And as I began, I will end in the same way. Give every day the chance to become the most beautiful day of your life. The day is still young, so give Thursday, the 19th of September 2024, the chance to become the most beautiful day of your life. I am Abuna Mante. Thank you for joining us.